It's a great day to be a Hornet, and it's a great day to play, too. That's what Lynchburg's going to have to do today. We have reached Game 3 of the best 2 out of 3 championship series. That means Lynchburg 1-1, Johns Hopkins 1-1. Lynchburg got the 5-2 victory yesterday to start this championship series. And a few hours ago, we watched Johns Hopkins really storm out to a big inning, 5 runs in the 5th for Johns Hopkins, and that ended up being the difference. They added on some insurance runs as the game went on. Lynchburg did a little mini comeback in the 9th inning, perhaps some momentum built right there for Lynchburg, but it will all come down to this. It's Game 3 of the championship series. First team to win 2 will hoist the national championship trophy, and we will have a 2023 Division III baseball champion here in just a few hours by afternoon's end here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Kyle Haney and my great partner, Tim LaDuca. Tim, we had the president on last game, so you're going to have to live up to that standard that our president, Dr. Allison Morrison Shetler, has set in the high standard that we have set all year broadcasting on LHSN, although I just had a blip in the radar with that high school term there, Cedar Rapids High School. Is there a Cedar Rapids High School? I don't know. Let's focus on the game, buddy. Let's get me back between the lines. I've hit the guardrails already in this final broadcast of the season.
Lang may your lums leak. That's how we get it back in business, baby. That's Scottish for long may your chimney smoke. So good luck, health, wellness, bountiful family and camaraderie. And all that Lynchburg is looking for right now is just 9 innings and a few more runs than the Johns Hopkins Blue Jays. 9 unearned runs for Johns Hopkins. They earned them. They go down as unearned, but they hit the ball really well. Some really long fly balls. We were kind of teasing, when's Johns Hopkins, a team that hit 110 home runs, going to hit one out of the park? They did that. They really proved why they set a NCAA record for home runs by hitting 2 moonshots. And now the Blue Jays are going to have to go up against one of the best pitchers in all of the land, and Jack Batchmore, first-team All-American. And he hasn't pitched in just about a week. We'll see how a guy who usually throws multiple innings in short rest goes with a long amount of time off.
Yeah, Jack Batchmore did appear in relief on Friday night. That late-night game where Lynchburg got the tournament started. That was One Nation after dark, Lynchburg beating Wisconsin lacrosse. But Jack had to come out of that game. He did not finish that game, Tim. I think Batchmore, that'll be so far in the rearview mirror, he won't even be thinking about that. I think he'll be focused on the task at hand. But it is that good Johns Hopkins offense. They put balls in play. They hit balls hard. They run the bases well, just like Lynchburg does. So many similarities between these two teams. The records are very close, too. Lynchburg 47-8, Johns Hopkins 48-7. They've split the first 2 games. Something's got to give. And I said, Lynchburg fans won't want to hear it, but I'm excited we get to see these teams play again. We get to see, even for Lynchburg fans, the good news is, the silver lining is, you get to watch this team compete one more time this season. It's an unforgettable combination, and it's a combination that won't be duplicated because, yes, some of these guys are coming back, Tim, but some of these players will be moved on or careers over. So you got to enjoy one last look at this 2023 edition of the Hornets that has been legendary. Any result here in this Game 3 does not change the fact that this team from Lynchburg is legendary.
Yes, of course, and it's interesting to see how things shake out. We haven't seen Lynchburg play with much adversity. Of course, there was the 8-6 win when Batchmore did allow the home run. But Johns Hopkins has bounced back from a loss before. They just did it for the second time in this series. This is the first time Lynchburg's really been punched in the mouth, and it's late in the count. We're in the deep rounds of the boxing match right now, and you just took a sucker punch, a really good shot from Johns Hopkins. How do you bounce back here for the Hornets? You do it by sending, not the conventional ace because he doesn't start games very often, but one of your best arms is on the mound for you in the biggest game of the year. It's hard to kind of put into words right now. I was tweeting out, I was messaging it out on social media, and I'm like, the biggest game of the year, period. The biggest game of the year, exclamation point. Mm-hmm. It's bigger than that.
It is.
This represents so much for this Lynchburg team. It represents so much for a Johns Hopkins team that's in a big market in Baltimore. There's a D1 men's lacrosse team. This is their chance to shine and show, their campus that they're on top of the world. And for Lynchburg, a school that has 3 national championships coming in to this year, or this tournament, 1 NCAA tournament championship that was 10 years ago with the women's soccer team. It's really almost uncharted territory for a really prestigious program that doesn't have that many national championships in their trophy case.
It's the biggest game of the season for both, but it's the biggest game in program history for both. Neither team has a baseball national championship, so they're both competing for the same thing right now. Bob Babb in his 44th season at Johns Hopkins. I mean, what a legendary cap of a career that would be. Lucas Jones in his 6th season at Lynchburg. Well, he wants to win one now. You might not ever get a better chance than this ball club here in 2023. The crowd is coming alive as the leadoff man, Matt Cooper, steps to home plate. He will be facing the Jack of Diamonds. It's Jack Batchmore, who does have one start this season, and it was in similar circumstances. The if-necessary game against Lebanon Valley 3 weeks ago, I guess, against Lebanon Valley in that Rocky Mount Regional. Remember, Lynchburg lost the first game, so they had to go this route and start Jack Batchmore. He did pitch great in that game. Jack is 8-1 with 13 saves this season, 2.01 earned run average, batters hitting just .211 against Jack Batchmore. Ball 1, then strike 1, swinging. Matthew Cooper, who homered in the first game, is the leadoff man again for Johns Hopkins. Lineups unchanged for both ball clubs. Tim, here's another foul ball from Cooper. Real quick, around the diamond for Lynchburg. Same thing we've been seeing. Fiedler is the catcher. Hyatt at first, Jones at second, Garcia short, Collins third, Neves, Atkins, and Harding in the outfield, left to right. Missile through the left side of the infield. That looked like a fastball that Matthew Cooper was on, and it's the leadoff man reaching base to start the game. First hit of the ball game, obviously, for Johns Hopkins.
And real quick to just kind of summarize what feelings may be going through. I don't know if you've ever been to Disney World, but it's kind of like you got to get to the airport later that afternoon. You got a 5 o'clock flight, but you're at the park one last time, and you're going to go on 1 or 2 more rides. You're trying to soak it in, but it's sad that this has to come to an end soon.
Ball belted in the gap. That is down from Souvenir. That's going to be a double. Jackson Harding there to cut it off. Maybe a play at home. Harding gets it to the relay tandem. Jones will try to throw home, but that ball is late. The run scores. It's a stand-up triple for Dylan Souvenir. So, yeah, not much time to really soak it in with the way Hopkins swings the bat. It's back-to-back base hits, including a triple in the right center gap. And Lynchburg is on the ropes early. They fall behind 1-0.
With 2 pretty flat fastballs that have just been driven into each alley. And that was a big triple, and it's not even like it's, you get to take a rest here. It's just a little RBI single. It's a runner on third base now.
Hopkins hacking early. Neves makes the grab on a line drive to left. Runner will come home and score. That's a sacrifice fly. First pitch swinging from Sean Stower. So you're getting a look at the game plan, again, from the Blue Jays, Tim. They are swinging early. They are swinging often. They assume Jack Batchmore is going to be in the zone. And now Johns Hopkins leads 2-0 in really what was the blink of an eye. 1 out. Sam Frank, the cleanup hitting catcher for Johns Hopkins. Sam Frank was 0 for 5 last game. 3 strikeouts in there. So one of the players that actually didn't do damage in that 11-6 victory for the Blue Jays in Game 1. They have done significant damage early, but it is still early. Long baseball game. No need to press the panic button just yet if you're Jack Batchmore or the Lynchburg Hornets. Breaking ball for a strike. 2-1 count as Jack Batchmore pitches to Sam Frank. Frank will foul one away. And now the count is even at 2-2.
And we saw these Lynchburg bats may have woken up about 50 minutes ago. Garcia, Jones, and Neves all drove in back-to-back-to-back runs with Lynchburg up against the wall with 2 outs. Just was a little bit too late for a miraculous comeback.
Another ball hit hard down the line, but that is foul. The count will remain full with 1 out Yeah, Lynchburg, the bats started to heat up, and Gabe Romano, the starting pitcher for Johns Hopkins, obviously he was over 150 pitches. I'm going to say fatigue could have been an issue there as Lynchburg finally got to him. And the more looks you get at a guy, that should help as well. There's a walk from Jack Batchmore. Honestly, I think Jack will maybe feel a little bit worse about that walk than he did the hits that he gave up. But there is a runner on first with one out, Tim.
Sam Frank, the bases were emptied after that sacrifice fly. Sam Frank looks into the dugout as he's running up to first base on the walk and making the signal like, keep it going. Keep it going.
Bunt attempt here. It will be down in the grass. Fiedler comes out to field. Line drive throw to first base for the out. Wasn't a sacrifice bunt for Myers, but it will go down as one as the runner moves into scoring position. I think Myers was bunting for a base hit there, Tim, but just didn't execute that. The runner does move up 90 feet, and now there's 2 outs here in the top of the first inning.
Yeah, if it was a sacrifice bunt, maybe a little curious decision to kind of almost thwart the momentum that you've already started building by laying one down. But if the infield is playing deep, may have been looking for the base hit there.
First pitch hack from Caleb Sear. So I think 6 hitters have come up. 5 have swung at the first pitch so far for this Johns Hopkins team. And that has been a trend that we have taken note of all postseason. You know you're going to get aces and good pitchers on the mound, so you're hacking early. You're trying to ambush fastballs. You might even be swinging at breaking balls first pitch, too.
Because all of these aces, as you said, they have a lot of confidence in their stuff, and they know they can beat you with a fastball and an off-speed pitch. They want to get ahead. They know I'm going to attack the strike zone so that I can be in the driver's seat for this at-bat. And the counterpunch from the hitters also swinging at that first pitch. It's just a crazy mind game that it's always changing. Everyone's thinking 4 or 5 steps ahead of each other, and sometimes you're outthinking yourself.
Right, especially with 2 elite coaching staffs. That's an interesting battle to watch that. And then the pitcher has to execute the game plan as well. 1-2 count. Caleb Sear hitting with 2 strikes and 2 outs. Here it comes from Batchmore. That was the breaking ball down in the dirt. Fiedler kept it close enough to where the runner, Sam Frank, could not advance. And now it's 2s across the board here, and 2 runs have come across for Johns Hopkins. 2-0 the lead, top of the first inning in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. One more game for us in this ballpark and this city. We have really enjoyed our time here. I think Lynchburg has as well. They didn't want to go to this if-necessary game, but we get one more look at this great team against a very, very good opponent, a very worthy adversary. It's fascinating. You look at the records, you look at what these teams have done. I think without a doubt we've got the 2 best in the country right here.
Yeah, they've proved it. It's been a lot of entertaining stuff, complete game after complete game from both sides. As we said, the home runs for Johns Hopkins have been awe-inspiring, to say the least. And the defense, the glove work, questionable defense from Lynchburg is probably the reason they lost that game 3 hours ago. If they can secure things with the glove a little bit and lock it down.
Another full count pitch coming from Jack Batchmore. Sear has fouled off a couple. He's going to foul off a third, at least a third. Anyway, they're going in all different directions, so we'll have to try it again here. Payoff pitch coming with 2 outs. Yeah, defense in the spotlight for sure. We know pitchers are always in the spotlight in the game of baseball. Sometimes defensively, though, you can avoid tough plays, but not in this tournament. You're going to get pressed at some point. Sear will foul another one off. And both of these teams have had some defensive miscues, we'll say, at certain points in this tournament, but they've survived them. We'll see. Maybe this is the game where we see the clean defense. We've seen some highlight reel stuff from Lynchburg. Brandon Garcia comes to mind, but the list does not stop there. Jack Batchmore is set, middle of his body, ready to go. Long lead out there by Sam Frank. Uh-oh, Caleb Sear got one. He flipped the bat. He thinks it's gone. It is gone. That's a 2-run home run for Caleb Sear. He fouled off 4 or 5 pitches and then finally found one from Jack Batchmore that he could drive. Lynchburg is in a 4-0 hole as Caleb Sear has launched one out of this ballpark. It took Johns Hopkins 6 games to finally hit one, but now they've hit 3 just in the last 2 hours or so. Home run number 17 of the season for Caleb Sear.
Yeah, that one was massive, and you look around the infield, all the Hornets have their heads hung right now. you worry about how this team is going to react. Of course, they've been able to bounce back in big ways throughout the season, but this one just seems a little crazy right now for the Hornets, especially with the best arm that you have left. He's the one struggling right now on the mound.
No, nobody scrambling to the bullpen just yet. And if you're Lynchburg, this will be a key. Is how do you rally? How do you pick those heads up? How do you act like it's a 0-0 game? Some guys can do that. Other guys are more momentum-based or more emotional, those sorts of things. Let's see what Lynchburg can do. You got to get out of the inning here. If Lynchburg can get out of the inning, then you can start mounting a comeback with your bats. Batchmore will send one in to Jimmy Stevens, second baseman. He hit a home run a couple hours ago. Homered in the 8th inning. Jimmy Stevens, he also doubled in the first game. Well, it's actually the second game between these two teams, but the first game of the day. This is game 3 of the championship series, Tim LaDuca. Lynchburg is on the ropes early, but not knocked out just yet. Fiedler thought he caught a foul tip before it hit the ground. Jimmy Stevens is pointing at the spot that it hit the ground. The umpire is going to call his colleagues together and get a second opinion. It was an 0-2 pitch from Jack Batchmore that Stevens swung on and barely got a piece of. And the 2-strike foul tip rule, of course, is if it goes straight into the catcher's glove, it's strike 3. If it hits the ground, it is not strike 3. It's just a foul ball. So there is that differentiation, Tim, between foul tip and foul ball, and it can be confusing sometimes.
This is probably the first time that Fiedler has worked with this umpire directly behind the plate, but maybe it shows a little bit of the goodwill that Holden Fiedler has created with the umpire crew, that he says, I really, I'm telling you, sir, I caught that one. And the umpire behind home plate calls the meeting. They changed the call.
Foul tip and then strike 3. Fiedler did catch it before it hit the ground. Looks like I thought maybe Hopkins was considering using the coach's challenge. They may still be considering it, but you only get 30 seconds, and it looks like that time is going to elapse. So it's a 4-run, 3-hit inning for Hopkins. They leave nobody on, and they are in command early here in this winner-take-all Game 3 of the championship series between Lynchburg and Johns Hopkins. Bottom of the first inning. Let's see how the Lynchburg Hornets offense responds. They're in a 4-0 hole. Johns Hopkins pumping one ball out of the yard. There was a triple in there for the Blue Jays, and they lead 4-0.
Speaking about how they respond, Sam Graham just sent a tweet out, one of our great student workers and student athletes at Lynchburg. In Lynchburg's other 2 postseason losses, they ripped off 7 straight wins after both loss. After they lost to Bridgewater in the ODAC tournament, they averaged a 5.9 margin of victory in those 7 wins afterward. In the 7 wins after losing to Lebanon Valley, 3.3 margin of victory in those 7 wins. So there's only one game you have to win after this one. There's not going to be a 7-game win streak after this, but Lynchburg has been able to bounce back after postseason losses.
Yeah, well, Lynchburg all season has never lost back-to-back games. And, of course, when you've only lost 8 games in a baseball season, maybe that seems obvious. But you could have lost back-to-back games. This Lynchburg team has not. They've never lost twice in a row. 3-1 count for Brandon Garcia. That one misses the zone, and Brandon Garcia is on as the leadoff batter for Lynchburg. Again, a walk. And here's Ben Jones stepping to the plate. The second baseman for Lynchburg did hit a double in that 9th inning. So hopefully he can pick up right where he left off. But that margin of victory in there interests me too, Tim. And maybe it's not that noteworthy because you think in these playoff games, postseason games, great competition, you are going to win a lot of close games. The good ones win a lot of close games anyway. Last game, Lynchburg lost 11-6. That's strike one. The starting pitcher for Johns Hopkins is Ben Keever. Ben Keever has appeared twice in Cedar Rapids, both in relief roles. That was Friday and Saturday games that Keever pitched in. So total, it's 2 2/3 for him in Cedar Rapids as Jones gets under one, left side. Third baseman should be able to catch the pop-up, yes, and that's out number one. Keever does have a win in relief in this national championship tournament. He's given up 3 hits, walked 1 run. On the season for Ben Keever, this will be appearance number 20 now, and it's actually his first start. He has been sort of a bullpen ace with 4 saves, a 3-0 record, and a 2.01 earned run average. Ben Keever, he's got a low batting average against as well, Tim, hitting just .210. Opponents hitting .210 off Ben Keever. So it sounds a little bit like Jack Batchmore.
I was just going to say that.
With less wins and saves. Neves takes strike one. It's an 0-1 count with 1 out. The bottom of the first, Lynchburg down 4-0. You don't have to get all 4 back here, but you have the leadoff man on. So feel like you got to have some urgency to try to get at least on the board. Break the goose egg early. Good for the psyche, good for the confidence. Might be good for Jack Batchmore, the pitcher, as well. Here's the pitch from Keever, right-hander. He kind of flies off the mound, does not end in that textbook fielding position by any means, but I think he's very much in control. That was ball 2 to Avery Neves.
This guy must be feeling the weight of the world, or at least the state of Virginia, on his shoulders right now.
Well, and even though it's still up for grabs for both ball clubs, there is some pressure. There is some pressure. You can do the thing and say, oh, it's just a regular ball game. And I'm sure some coaches have tried that. But it's not just a regular ball game. It's not just like any other game. Avery Neves will watch this fastball nip the inside part of the plate. Now the count is full at 3-2.
We've seen Neves make people pay. I may be getting a little greedy trying to call this for a second time, but Neves, after a close call with 3 balls, usually responds positively.
He sure does. Neves has had so many big hits in the postseason. This is all just postseason play, these numbers, not Cedar Rapids. But in the postseason, Neves has driven in 19. He's only got 12 hits, but he's driven in 19. He's taken 15 walks. He's got a couple homers in there as well. Full count for Avery Neves. Garcia will go, and it's ball 4. So Avery Neves will take another postseason walk and another to his gargantuan career walk total. And this is Sean Pokerock, the DH, hitting cleanup for Lynchburg. He had 1 hit last game. He was hit by a pitch as well. Grounded out to short, second, and struck out.
He was the final out, but I'm sure the veterans in the locker room were in there giving him some support, patting him on the back, making sure that his head's right, to hit in the 4 hole. What a spot for a freshman, hitting 4th in the national championship.
Yeah. In the national championship. Great point. Runners on first and second for that freshman, Sean Pokerock. Here's the pitch from Ben Keever. That catches the edge. That looked like an off-speed delivery there. Ben Keever's 14th pitch of the ball game. I assume we'll see Jack Batchmore come back out for the second inning. And there hasn't been anybody warming up in the bullpen. So that's going to be what happens for Lynchburg. See if they can get on the board here. Pokerock will slash at one and send it foul over the Johns Hopkins bullpen.
Just a little late for Pokerock there, but really good hack at it. Kept the head down, hands through the zone. The barrel stayed firm through the zone. Just a little bit late.
Pokerock, a freshman from Forest Park High School. 23rd game he's played in. 19 starts. Spin move from the pitcher Ben Kiever to keep an eye on Brandon Garcia at second. The second baseman covering there, Jimmy Stevens. He almost whipped that one back to the pitcher like a double play. He was in and out of his glove really quick. 0-2 pitch coming up to Sean Pokerock. Low target by the catcher. And the baseball ended up in the opposite direction at the eyes of Pokerock for ball one.
No Cedar Rapids High School.
So it was just a complete air ball by me. It wasn't even a brick. It was just an air ball. I don't know where that came from either. All right, 1-2 to Pokerock. Kiever delivers. Pokerock down the right field line, but it will be foul.
And again, really good swing. I love how Pokerock's keeping his head down on these swings. You think back to the base hit he had. It's just hard contact right at somebody, but hit it so hard, earned the base hit. Same case here. He just needs to be a little step early. With the 1-2 count, look for either a pitch high in the zone or an off-speed pitch to get the timing off.
Breaking ball high. Count is 2-2 now. 1 out. Bottom of the first inning. It's Johns Hopkins leading 4-0. They won the first game today, which was game 2 of the series. 11-6. Hopkins took that one. Lynchburg won yesterday 5-2. Set up this, if necessary, winner-take-all game. Garcia running. Pitch to Pokerock. It hit him. It just barely grazed him coming in there. And there was no movement at all from Pokerock, so you can't argue that he leaned into that one. It just barely grazed the elbow. So it is a hit by pitch, and now the bases are loaded, Tim. It's one of those Lynchburg innings developing here because they don't have a base hit yet. But this man, Eric Hyatt, has stepped up in these situations and been the lone base hit. Crowd's coming alive for Lynchburg as well. There will be a mound visit for the Blue Jays.
Lynchburg didn't score in the first inning against Wisconsin lacrosse. Feels like ages ago when we played that game starting at 10:30 local time, p.m. But since then, every game here in the championship tournament, Lynchburg scored in the first inning. They're threatening to do that again. And the script, even though this game, I can already assure you, Kyle, is going to be a wild ride for the next 8.5 innings. But the script so far, Hopkins gets to a great pitcher from Lynchburg first, and Lynchburg answers right back. And Lynchburg can tie the game up with one swing right here.
That's exactly right. This is a guy that could do it, too. No doubt about it. Eric Hyatt has 1 home run this season. That was down in Rocky Mount against North Carolina Wesleyan in regional play. Just for the record, Sean Pokerock has been hit once in each game against Johns Hopkins. I think it was in his first at bat every time, too. Hyatt wanted the first when he yanked it foul into his own dugout. Pokerock's been hit 8 times this season.
You might not be the guy to answer that. This is something I wanted to ask at each press conference. But what is it about this Lynchburg lineup that just really thrives in the first inning?
I think they're just ready right from the get-go. I know there's got to be more to it than that to answer your question, but it's interesting because the first time you see a starting pitcher, you should struggle against him. I mean, baseball numbers say you should struggle against him, and you're right. Lynchburg, their numbers in the first inning are outstanding. I think in the playoffs, wasn't their first inning the highest scoring so far in the postseason? Hyatt, he'll get one into the outfield, not very deep, though. In fact, the shortstop is going to go back and call off the left fielder. Garcia cannot tag. He was actually going halfway in case the shortstop dropped it. So that's just an F6 in the book, and it's the second out of the inning. And Gavin Collins, here he finds himself in a big spot again. How many times has he been able to say that in his 3-year career? Gavin Collins hitting with the sacks packed, full of Hornets right here. See if he can get to work.
Rookie of the year probably seems like years ago for this third baseman. Infielders played all over the diamond. But how much of a privilege is it that just you got players getting into their third season and they've already played 100 games?
It's
under their belt.
It boggles the mind, really. A 1 count on Gavin Collins. He's facing Ben Kiever. Infield plate slightly to pull for Gavin Collins. He laces one to left. It is down for a base hit. Actually, a pretty good stop by the left fielder to keep it from getting to the wall, but that will score 2. Gavin Collins had that look in his eye like he had a clock to punch Tim LaDuca, and he does step up and get to work for Lynchburg. They're on the board. They've cut the lead in half. Gavin Collins with a big knock into left field.
And big play that there was 2 outs there because Neves got to, more than just going halfway at second base. Which we've seen a lot. Neves is right on the coattails of Garcia as he scores there. May not have been able to score as that one was just into shallow left field. Crowd's getting rowdy now for Lynchburg.
Yeah, getting real rowdy down there. Jackson Harding, maybe he can join that rowdy bunch or get them even louder. Fastball, ball 1. There is an arm loosening in the Blue Jay bullpen. Ben Keever has walked 2 in this inning. He's hit 1. He only gave up 1 hit, but that was a hot one from Gavin Collins. He nearly hit Jackson Harding. Harding danced out of the way of that one, and now the count is 2-0. Yeah, Jackson Harding. Talk about a guy that's done great things in his career. So much fun watching him in this Cedar Rapids trip. This is going to be the second mound visit, and by rule, that is all for Ben Keever. We will get to see a new pitcher, Tim LaDuca. So let's pause for just a moment. Timmy and I can catch our breath and tell you about the new arm coming up. He'll enter into in the middle of an at-bat. Jackson Harding will have a 2-0 count to hit with when we return to PG Cares Field in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We're in the bottom of the first inning. Veterans Memorial Stadium, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. It all comes down to this. It's the winner-take-all game between Lynchburg and Johns Hopkins. Hopkins scored 4 in their half of the first. Lynchburg responding. They've cut the lead in half, 4-2. Hornets still trail, but they've got number 2 batting with a 2-0 count. How about all those deuces wild there, Tim?
Yeah, but it's number 7 on the mound, Cole Jefferson for Johns Hopkins. He pitched yesterday against the Hornets. He had no hits in his 1 inning of work against Lynchburg. Jefferson, there's a Jefferson High School here in the area in Cedar Rapids.
Okay.
Not Cedar Rapids High School, but there's a Jefferson High School. And on the season, a 5.64 ERA for Jefferson, the righty, who, as you said, will face Harding, number 2, with 2 outs and a 2-0 count. That is pretty cool.
It is. It is. If it gets to be 2-2, well, then we've really got it all.
We're going to lose our minds.
There will be no mind left. We're not going to get to 2-2 because that's ball 3. 3-0 count on Jackson Harding. Green light, maybe. We'll see. There are 2 outs. There are runners on first and second. Gavin Collins stands at first. He just lasered a ball to left field that scored 2 runs. Really, the diving effort there from the left fielder, Matt Cooper, was impressive. He nearly got to the ball, but he kind of trapped it on the short hop. If that ball gets by him, at least 3 score. Heck, Gavin Collins might be rolling around to home at that point. 3-1 count on Harding. As Jefferson found the zone with that last pitch, this one fouled back. So the count is full with 2 outs. Runners on first and second will get the head start on the pitch. Lynchburg down by 2, but certainly not out. Not out by any stretch. If this first inning has shown us anything, it's shown us that. And really, take it back to the last inning of the previous game, Tim, where Lynchburg exploded for 3 more runs in a losing effort. Here it comes from Jefferson. Harding, he pounded that ball, but right at the second baseman. A little bit of bad luck. It nearly hit Gavin Collins going by, actually. This time, it's just a 1-hop line drive out that the second baseman throws over to first. But Lynchburg, they do get on the board, 4-2. Hopkins leads through 1 complete here in Game 3 of the championship series. D3 baseball national title on the line. Kyle and Tim, it's not all comedy. There's some baseball mixed in between there, but we certainly have fun. We hope the fans are enjoying it. Lynchburg Hornets fans, maybe not enjoying it the right amount or the amount they'd like to, Tim, but hey, it's still a ball game. We're in the second inning. Gosh, 6 runs combined in the first inning. This sounds like that ETBU game. Ball clubs combined for 8 runs in that inning. It was 5 from Lynchburg, 3 for ETBU. And then the pitcher settled down, so who knows? We could be in for another one of those, or we could be in for a very high-scoring affair, perhaps.
Yeah, and Hopkins ended up pulling Kiever in that first inning. May have been the plan for him to just go until he gets into trouble. Not that they were expecting him to get into trouble, but how about the move from associate head coach Travis Beasley? You let Batchmore get through the rocky start, and instead of wasting your best arm that you have, you let him toil, and now you got him here in the second inning. Not something that Hopkins can say that they're pitching the same pitches as they did in the first.
That's exactly right. Cole Jefferson comes in. He inherited a 2-0 count. Then it went 3-0, but he managed to get Jackson Harding out. Now Harding did hit the ball hard. This one's ripped pretty well, but Carson Atkins is patrolling center field, and he will get into the gap and take that one out of the sky for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, that's just another play that's going to be hard to quantify, hard to say that. But, I mean, all the hard contact into the gaps that Batchmore's been allowing so far in these first 2 innings, Atkins may have just stopped another double by getting into the gap there and coming in. You know, he was coming in on it, too, to make that nice play waist high.
Right fielder Sam Browning is in the 9-hole. He was 0 for 2 last game. Got hit by a pitch in his first at bat. Actually got pulled for a pinch hitter later on in the game. 0-2 count. Batchmore's gotten ahead pretty quickly. Leadoff man Matt Cooper on deck. Batchmore, another big breaking ball, and he got him looking. Browning could only watch as Batchmore uncorked the big 12-6 snapper out of his hands. And that is the second out of the inning. Second strikeout of the game for Batchmore. This is Matt Cooper. He's already singled in this game. And he hit the home run last game, also doubled and drove in 2. Matthew Cooper, very dangerous. 25 homers on the season. See how Lynchburg goes after him. Away target from Fiedler. Fastball up and away. Batchmore will get the ball back quickly and get set on the mound. Batchmore does not waste a lot of time, Tim, especially when he's pitching well. I mean, it's almost rapid fire, pitching machine stuff. Grab another ball and fire it down the chute because it's coming after you. 1-1's the count as Cooper fouls one away. Batchmore, left-handed arm. And a very good one. 1-2 is the count.
It's almost discombobulating even for us up here. Imagine what it's like to stand in the box against the pitching machine, Jack Batchmore.
Woo. Cooper was out in front of that off-speed pitch. Did stay alive, but yanked it foul in one of those dangerous situations over there near the dugout. And our own Sam Rice is over there. I don't know if he had a duck for cover or not, but Sam's a great athlete, so he should be fine. Curveball bounced in front of the plate. Cooper did not swing, and it's ball 2. Outfield played to pull, infield straight away. Here comes the pitch, and Cooper dumps that one into left field. Back-to-back singles for Matt Cooper. He is a talented, talented hitter. Lynchburg held him to an 0 for day yesterday. 0 for 4 for Matt Cooper yesterday. So he's clearly making up for lost time as he bangs out the Blue Jays' 4th hit of the ball game.
And he's an intimidating presence, especially at the top of the lineup. Big frame. And you're not going to hold him hitless very long, and he's making Lynchburg pay right now. And maybe restarting a rally here with 2 outs. Your leadoff hitter, he wasn't the leadoff man in this inning, but leadoff runner on.
Dylan Souvenir is the left-handed hitter. Now he'll take a ball high. Souvenir is riding a 19-game hitting streak thanks to a couple doubles last game. He's got over 80 hits on the season. Dylan Souvenir. Playing a pretty good first base over there for Johns Hopkins as well. We've seen him make a couple snazzy plays. Souvenir has a triple in this game. That was his 2nd of the season. So his last 3 hits have all been of the extra base variety for the Blue Jays. Try to keep the ball down against this lefty swinger. Batchmore looks at the runner. Breaking ball. High and tight. And it's a 3-1 count on Dylan Souvenir. 2 away in the top of the 2nd inning. Throw a 0 up on the board here would be good for Batchmore's confidence and probably the entire team. Here's the pitch. Souvenir wants it, but he fouls it to the left side. So now the count is full.
46th pitch of the game coming up for Batchmore. Usually almost his typical tally, even in 2 or 3 innings of work as a relief pitcher. He did go 7 innings against Lebanon Valley with a career-high 10 strikeouts as well.
Punch out here would be big. Batchmore gets it in the right spot, and yeah, it is strike 3. Souvenir was beside himself, not because of the call, but because the pitch was so nasty, and he was unable to pull the trigger. So a nice bounce-back inning for Jack Batchmore. He does surrender a hit, but he gets the last 2 outs with a looking strikeout. Let's see if Lynchburg can keep scoring. They trail 4-2 against Johns Hopkins here in Game 3. The winner-take-all game. It's national championship time again from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. One more very nice moment there in this final game of the national championship. They always make the announcement in between top of the second and the bottom of the second here at Veterans Memorial Stadium, an announcement standing or asking fans to stand and salute and congratulate and give a round of applause to all of our veterans and active duty military members. And the Lynchburg team has really enjoyed participating in that. It's the fun one is when Zach Potts is out there in the middle of a warm-up pitch, Tim, and he'll stop and make sure he tips the cap to the veterans and the military members in the stands. So that's been a neat part of the experience here. Fiedler, he'll slash one to right field, and that will drop in for a base hit. The right fielder, Sam Browning, was coming on strong, but he realized he wasn't going to get there and decided to hold up and field it off one bounce. Holden Fiedler with a leadoff single for Lynchburg, their second hit of the ball game. Fiedler had a single in Game 2, the first game of the day, and yesterday Holden Fiedler, I believe, had one hit as well.
Fiedler a little slow, called for time after that. Looks like he's stretching his quad. You got to imagine after catching the 5th straight game and beginning to catch your 6th, must be feeling a little bit of wear and tear on the legs.
Fly ball right side from Carson Atkins. Right fielder Browning was actually played further in. I don't know if he was maybe he was played too deeply on Holden Fiedler, but this time he'll make the catch, and Atkins is out. Now, Fiedler's ball was hit more sharply than that one that Carson Atkins just hit. One away, bottom of the second, Lynchburg down 4-2. Here's the leadoff man, Brandon Garcia, back up. He walked in his first plate appearance.
Garcia has had meaningful, impactful at-bats every time to the plate. Triple, double, RBI singles, working walks. He's vying for most outstanding player in the tournament, especially with the glove work he's shown out at shortstop.
He's been incredible, as usual. But I think still more and more people have become blown away when they learn Brandon Garcia, just a freshman. You get a freshman, question mark, those kinds of things. Garcia is incredible out there. It's a 1-1 count against Cole Jefferson. He's the second pitcher that Hopkins has used. We did a lot of hellos and shout-outs in the first game, Tim, but I got a couple additional ones that have come in here.
Same.
Nice. Here's the pitch. Ball 2. So we'll say hello to my buddy Chase Hall, who is listening. I used to coach a lot of baseball with Chase Hall. You're going to hang out with Chase Hall one day.
Okay.
You would love this guy. You
Dial
would
me up.
love this guy. And an Iowa native, Dr. Rick Jaminet from the Hill City of Lynchburg is listening while he's playing golf, I think. Here comes a 2-1 to Brandon Garcia. Fastball for a strike. Count is now 2-2 with one out. Runner on first.
Cedar Rapids. He's from Iowa, you said? Where
He's
did he go
from
to high school?
Iowa. I think he's from closer to the Des Moines area. Doc he'll fill me in on the exact location. Where'd he go to high school? 2-2 coming up to Brandon Garcia. Long hold from Jefferson. Now he pitches. Breaking ball high for ball 3.
Shout out to my mom who's listening. I love her. I love my mom.
I do too. Just based on the fact that I know you. She raised you. So I love her. Full count to Brandon Garcia. Here's the pitch. Looping ball gets caught by the shortstop. Shortstop was played towards the middle, but that ball hung up long enough to where Dylan Whitney could come over and secure the grab. So it's the second out of the inning. Here comes Ben Jones hitting with a runner on first and 2 outs. Ben Jones is 0 for 1. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know your family, but knowing you, I feel like I know them. Who would you get your sense of humor from, your mom or your dad, or both?
I'm not quite sure. Maybe my grandpa.
Oh, nice, nice.
Through my mom.
Didn't expect that right there. That was
Tim.
good, yeah.
My grandpa's name's actually Thomas, but nicknamed Tim, so I'm named after my grandfather's nickname.
I'm probably going to call you Thomas now just for fun, though. Cole Jefferson, right-hander, working out of the stretch with a runner on first. That's Holden Fiedler, the catcher, and it's fastball for strike 1 on Ben Jones.
My grandfather was almost a John Wolfe-esque figure.
I could see that.
A prankster of sorts.
Oh, yeah. I could see that. Jones thought about hacking at a spinner, but decides against it, and it's ball 1. Yeah, I know we had John Wolfe tuned in yesterday. Seemed like Sam Rice was not happy with John Wolfe listening. We couldn't understand that. Here comes Jefferson to Ben Jones. Look out. Look out. Benny Bombs has exploded again. Ben Jones has tied the ball game with a long bomb to right field. You said that the crowd and the fans were getting rowdy for Lynchburg. Ben Jones getting rowdy and saying howdy, pumping one into the sky here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We are tied 4-4. Benny Bombs does it again for Lynchburg. 4-4. Hopkins and the Hornets are now knotted. Brand new ball game here in the bottom of the second. The umpires are going to, I believe, issue a warning to Lynchburg because of the way they celebrated and maybe specifically the bat flip from Ben Jones, Tim. That is the only perhaps little damper on that situation.
Well, I mean, Caleb Sear, when he hit his home run last game, threw the bat almost to the same trajectory of the
Agreed.
ball exiting the ballpark. You know, it is. Johns Hopkins did get a warning for their bench too, and then nothing ever came of it. Maybe this is just a warning to Lynchburg. I don't really know. And now you got Gabe Garcia talking to people in the crowd.
So we're figuring it out here. We think it's probably just going to be a warning issued, and it's still a big deal, of course. You know, we want to keep everything sportsmanlike, and I think so far this tournament has been that way. And I think that's what's good about, again, the modern game. The umpires will issue that warning rather than just starting to throw people out left and right. I like the fact that it's done that way. The score is 4-4.
It would be a real shame on either side if Caleb Sear was thrown out of the game.
I agree.
For celebrating the biggest hit of his life and the biggest stage of the national championship.
That's right.
It would be a really unfortunate situation if Ben Jones is thrown out for hitting a massive tank over the right field wall in the national championship to tie the ball game. That would also be a shame. Hopefully every team can reserve themselves a little bit more and keep everything sportsmanship between the lines, but we got to tie a ball game here. That's the biggest thing.
2-out home run, too, by the way. And let's give Holden Fiedler some credit for his base hit earlier in the inning to be out there for Ben Jones. 3 hits now total for Lynchburg. Avery Neves hitting with an 0-1 count. He walked in his first plate appearance. Momentum is back with the Hornets. They have taken it back. I think they built some up in the bottom of the 9th inning where they scored 3 runs. Granted, Lynchburg still lost that earlier game today, 11-6, but they're back on it, back in the mix right here with a tie ball game. Neves went for all of it, but he swings and misses. For Ben Jones, by the way, home run number 3 in the postseason, extra base hit number 8 in the postseason. Benny Bombs has been doing it for Lynchburg. Here's a 1-2 to Avery Neves. Fastball nearly hit him. It's ball 2. My goodness. Ben Jones did not miss. Love it. 2-2 offering to Avery Neves. Oh, that was just off the plate. Very close. Half the Hopkins team went running for the dugout. I'm just still in awe of Ben Jones. It's now 9 home runs on the season total for a freshman. This man, Avery Neves, in his 3rd season with Lynchburg, gets under one, should stay in catchable distance for the first baseman souvenir. Had to fight the sun, but does, and makes the grab for the final out. And we're just going to keep it right here for a moment, or we're not going to keep it right here. I'm getting mixed signals from Thomas LaDuca. No.
The signal I'm trying to give is I got to go get the SD card from Sam Rice. He's got a video of that home run.
I love it.
I'm going to post it for
There's no secrets
everybody.
here. We tell our fans what's going on. We tell people what's going on.
Post an amazing video of
Let's
that home
go.
run on
Let's
social
go.
media.
So I will pause for just a moment. Hopefully we can get Tim back later on. Tie ball game, 4-4 through 2 complete in Cedar Rapids. A short break because we need to try to recap that second inning and perhaps the whole game. Lynchburg was down 4-0 when they came to bat in their half of the first inning. A 4 spot to begin the game for Johns Hopkins. Blue Jays had the momentum there. Lynchburg got a little bit back with 2 runs. It was on 1 hit in the first inning. That was a Gavin Collins laser beam to left field. And then Lynchburg got out of the second inning unscathed. They get to the bottom of the second. Holden Fiedler leads off with a single. Atkins flies out. Garcia flies out. And then Ben Jones did not fly out as for a fielder catching it. He flew one right out of the ballpark. A long home run for Benny Bombs. Ties the game at 2-2. And Ben Bombs did get into the celebration. He did flip the bat. And the umpires issued a warning. I think a great thing about sports is you do get to express yourself a little bit. You do get to get into it. You get to yell and fist pump and those kinds of things. It's encouraged to yell and make noise. But there is that gray area there, and I think that's the job of the umpires, is to try to make sure it doesn't go from the gray area beyond that to the no-no zone. I think our umpires have been fantastic all week. This is going to be a well-placed ball down the right field line. Long run for Jackson Harding and Ben Jones on that right side. It'll be a double for Sean Stour, the third baseman. Probably not the hardest double he's ever hit, but in the right spot, and he is in scoring position to go-ahead run. We're in the 3rd inning. It's the top of the 3rd inning in Game 3 of the championship series between Lynchburg and Johns Hopkins. The winner of this game is your national champion. Neither team has won a baseball national championship. They're very storied programs. They've had so much success. The fun stat about Johns Hopkins is they've been playing baseball since 1887 at the Baltimore School. Another great shout out coming up here. My buddy Josh Brown and the Sheriff, Mike Brown, have got us tuned in. Josh Brown is a guy who used to play baseball against Lynchburg head coach Lucas Jones. Check swing there from Sam Frank. He did go around in the opinion of the first base umpire, so the count is 0-1 now. 1 runner on second for Jack Batchmore. Batchmore, a left-handed arm. A left-handed outstanding arm for Lynchburg. A first-team All-American, Jack Batchmore. He's 8-1 on the season with 13 saves. Hitters hitting under 220 against Jack Batchmore this season. He's been outstanding in every sense of the word. At times, he's been otherworldly. At times, you can't even describe what Jack Batchmore has done. He did give up 4 runs in the top of the first inning. I don't think he's been unsettled or rattled but you haven't quite seen the crispness from Jack Batchmore just yet. As the game goes on, I feel like he's going to get better and better. There's a steep breaking ball that comes in for a strike. Batchmore's got that 12-6 classic downward break on his breaking ball, and it's a hard breaker as well. 2-2 count on the catcher for Johns Hopkins, Sam Frank. Batchmore kicks and fires, and he's got another strikeout. That was a fastball that just kept tailing down and in from Jack Batchmore, and it's his fourth strikeout of the ball game. Jake Ciani is the center fielder who entered in for Trip Myers. Myers tried a bunt in the first inning. I think Josh Brown and Mike Brown might have taken note of that interesting bunt play. But Trip Myers, it looked like maybe pulled something or injured something on his way down the first baseline, and he has been taken out of the game for this man, Jake Ciani. Jake Ciani did play in our previous game today as a defensive replacement in the outfield. 1-0 count on Jake Ciani, left-handed hitter. Gavin Collins is even with the bag at third base. Rest of the defense is regular alignment and depth. Good stop by Holden Fiedler on a curveball in the dirt, and the count is now 2-0. Top of the third inning, national championship baseball game. It all comes down to this. In the old school days with the 8-team double elimination tournament, it would all come down to one game at the end a lot of times. We got the 2 out of 3 series. So sometimes you don't get to the third game, but it has become necessary. The if necessary game is necessary today, and why wouldn't it be against these two great ball clubs? Not a lot of separation against what we think are the two best teams in the country. What more do they need to do to prove it, right? Fastball low from Jack Batchmore. 3 balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Runner on second base in the top of the third inning. A little bit of wind now has developed in Cedar Rapids at the ballpark. 78 degrees. We've moved into the late afternoon almost. Batchmore misses, and that'll be ball 4. Second base on balls that Jack Batchmore has issued. And here comes a dangerous hitter. This is Caleb Sear. He homered in his last at bat. He had the big bat flip as well, like Ben Jones. Ben Jones's bat flip was sort of rotating like a helicopter blade. Caleb Sears just kind of, as Tim said, went in the direction of his dugout, but very high and lofted. Check swing from Sear, that's strike 1. 0-1 count. And I think Tim made a great point there. As broadcasters and fans, I like both. I like those kinds of things. I think as long as you don't look at the pitcher and direct anything at the pitcher verbally, I'm a fan of it. But our umpires obviously have a different standard. They have different things to worry about. They're trying to keep control of the game, keep everything sportsmanlike and fair and even, all those things. So the umpires have to think a little bit differently than just fans like us. 1-1 count on Sear. That one was close from Jack Batchmore. Just missed. Has to feel like he made a pretty competitive pitch. Nice take by Caleb Sear. Caleb Sear's caught some games in this tournament, but all 3 times against Lynchburg, he's been the designated hitter. 2-1 delivery coming up from Batchmore. Lefty fires, ground ball left side. There's Gavin Collins to first for 1. Ben Jones across for 2. It popped out of the mitt from Eric Hyatt. So Lynchburg will get 1. They don't get the double play. Runner at third is forced to hold. Nice work by Gavin Collins, moving glove side, making a good strong throw to Ben Jones. Jones's turn was quick. The throw was just slightly in the dirt. Hyatt had to try to pick it out. Runners on first and third now after what will go in the books as a 5-4 fielder's choice. Jimmy Stevens struck out in his first at bat. That ended the first inning. Holden Fiedler comes out to give the signals on the body for the first to third coverage. That will be important here in a tie ball game. You have to know how you're going to defend that first to third double steal or maybe the early break from the runner at first base. A couple different offensive options. Ball 1 from the left hand of Jack Batchmore. Jimmy Stevens did homer in the last game. A 9th inning home run, top of the 9th. Stevens took one over the left field wall. He's a right-handed hitter. Got one in his power zone and let it fly. Signals being delivered on the body from third base coach and head coach Bob Babb from Johns Hopkins in his 44th season. Here comes the pitch from Jack Batchmore, and that's fouled away. Timmy LaDuca, capital D, Sam Rice, and Allie Wilson and myself, we all went out to eat, and we saw the Hopkins coaching staff, and Bob Babb was there. He seemed to be in good spirits yesterday despite the loss. And I'll tell you, Tim, Bob Babb in his 44th season, he could coach 6 more years. He's in good health. He's in good shape. He's got energy. He could coach for half a century. Runner going, Fiedler will pump fake. They'll let Sear take second. Was a strike. And now we've got all deuces on the board up there again. 2-2 count with 2 outs. There are 2 runners on. It's a 4-4 ball game in the top of the 3rd inning. Jimmy Stevens, the second baseman. Oh, he wears number 2 as well. See what Batchmore goes with. Breaking ball in the dirt, maybe. Batchmore set, ready to fire. It was a curveball, it looked like, that Stevens was able to just barely stay alive on. Couple players getting loose in the Lynchburg bullpen. Actually, just one arm freshening down there. Batchmore looks in for the sign again. He's set just above his waist. Left-hander kicks and deals. Breaking ball again, and it's fouled away again. Carbon copy of the previous altercation between these two, the previous encounter. This battle that I love talking about between pitcher and hitter. That is the heart and soul of our game. How are you going to get the guys out? Batchmore's gotten so many out in his career. See if he can get another one right here. Big pitch coming from Batchmore. Fires fastball inside, and he got him looking. The location could not have been better for Jack Batchmore to pump a fastball by Jimmy Stevens. 5th punch out of the game for Jack Batchmore. We are tied through 2.5 innings in this national championship game. Lynchburg coming to bat in the bottom of the 3rd. Here from Veterans Memorial Stadium in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Five strikeouts now for Jack Batchmore through 3 innings of work. He got touched up a little bit in the first with 4 runs, but he has blanked Johns Hopkins in innings 2 and 3. Left a couple stranded in scoring position there. Hopkins has left 3 on base total. Lynchburg has 4 runs on 3 hits, and they've only left 2 on base, 1 in scoring position. It's a tie ball game, 4-4. Sean Pokerock facing Cole Jefferson. That's pitch number 23 for Cole Jefferson. He entered in the first inning. That was with a 2-0 count on Jackson Harding, and he was actually able to retire Harding, even though the key man from Keysville actually hit the ball fairly well at the second baseman. Second baseman Jimmy Stevens into play again as he catches a pop-up from Sean Pokerock for the first out of the inning. Eric Hyatt popped out to the shortstop in shallow left field in his first at-bat. That was with the bases loaded. Lynchburg got the bases loaded in the first inning. Garcia walked. Jones flew out. Neves walked. Sean Pokerock was hit by a pitch. Hyatt couldn't get anybody in, and then it was Gavin Collins with his 2 RBI single that he ripped into left field. Eric Hyatt has been on a heater in the postseason. And looks like that will continue as he waits on a breaking ball and batters it into left field. Excellent piece of hitting from Eric Hyatt. That's the old you hang 'em, we bang 'em. That was a breaking ball that went up out of Jefferson's hands and kind of started probably eye high, and you have a feeling that it's just going to sort of stay up in the zone, maybe come in at the letters, and you just unleash that bat on it, and you've got yourself a good, hard single. 5th hit of the ball game for Lynchburg. 4th hit of the game. Sorry, this man has one. He had the first hit for Lynchburg. This is Gavin Collins. Doesn't sniff on a breaking ball down in the zone, and now the count is 1-0 on the third baseman for Lynchburg, Gavin Collins. Waiting on the pitch from Jefferson. Oh, he wanted that. Collins got under it. Knows he missed it. High fly ball right side. It'll stay in play for Jimmy Stevens, one of those Bermuda triangles where Stevens, the second baseman, the right fielder, and the first baseman were all converging. But Stevens makes his second pop-up catch of the inning. And now we have 2 outs. Jackson Harding, as mentioned, hit it hard in his first at-bat right at the second baseman. He was 1 for 4 in Game 2 earlier today. And yesterday, Jackson Harding was 1 for 4 against Johns Hopkins. Here's the pitch to Harding. Hits it hard again. Second baseman Stevens is there. Backhand. He'll flip to second. A little bit of bad luck for Jackson Harding. He's tattooed a couple balls, but right there at the second baseman, Jimmy Stevens, who factored in every out this inning. Hornets strand 1. We are still tied through 3 complete innings in D3 National Championship game play. Winner take all, Game 3 here from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network is proud to present Division III Baseball Championship action from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Kyle Haney in the air chair. So much fun having the president, Dr. Allison Morrison Shetler, joining us, the president of the University of Lynchburg. There hasn't been a change in the White House or anything. But the Lynchburg president, what a great time it was visiting with her yesterday, and we had to recreate it. We had to do it again. The video is still on the social media and on this YouTube page that you're watching or listening this game to on. So check it out. Check out all the highlights and all the fun stuff that LHSN is doing. Top tier production. And we think it's the best in the nation. But again, we're slightly biased, and we would certainly be open to a conversation about who are some of the other better social media accounts and sports information departments and broadcast teams. Fly ball lifted into center field. Carson Atkins went in initially. Now he retreats back. He'll get the tent set up and haul in the first out of the inning. Well, the other good reason it would be to talk about some other schools and what they're doing and professional teams is then we could steal their ideas as well. So that would be the other fun reason to say, well, you guys are good, but watch this. Listen to this, those sorts of things. We are not above stealing. Of course not. In a metaphorical sense and not in a literal sense. Sam Browning watches strike 1 go by. We're in the top of the 4th inning. That's the other thing about these national championship games. You build it up. You build up the 2 out of 3 series. Then when you get in these middle innings here, it kind of hits you like, wow, things are coming to an end pretty quickly. It's a tie ball game, of course, and it's going to be bittersweet regardless of outcome because we're not going to get to watch this Lynchburg team, this combination anyway, ever again. We'll always have the audio and the video to refer back to, and it will be one that I know a lot of us will be revisiting, maybe even on the trip home. We'll relive some of these ball games. 2-2 count. Jack Batchmore, the lefty, still in there facing Sam Browning. Here's the pitch. Ball into center field. That's Carson Atkins' territory again. Yeah, he'll make camp and move over with his tent and pull another one in. Pretty routine for Carson Atkins to make the second out of the inning. Here comes the leadoff man, Matt Cooper. He's 2 for 2. He homered last game. He's got 25 home runs on the season. So those were two good gets for Jack Batchmore to get the 8 and 9 hole batters out and keep the bases clear for this guy, Matt Cooper. Left fielder is one of the best in the country offensively this season, hitting over 400 coming into this game. 25 home runs. I think the double count's up to 17 now, and he's driven in close to 75 after 2.5 games against Lynchburg. Breaking ball from Jack Batchmore. That is strike one. 2 balls, 1 strike is the count with 2 outs in the 4th inning. Batchmore kicks and deals. Cooper's going to belt one into the right center gap. Jackson Harding is there. Carson Atkins ran in front of him and nearly screened him off, but Harding held on. As he's running back into the dugout, he'll take a long look back at Carson Atkins. I don't know if they're going to find the humor in it or not, but the out is recorded, and a danger man is sent back to the dugout. Another 0 thrown up by Jack Batchmore. It's a 4-4 ball game as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. A national championship trophy goes home with the winner of this ball game. Right now, we're knotted at 4. We're tied 1 game apiece as well in a 3-game series, a best 2 of 3 series. And, of course, it's at the tail end of what has been some very, very exciting play here at PG Cares Field in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Fiedler was ready for the first one. He took a good lash at that, but it's a foul ball. Sounds like the NCAA Division III baseball championships will be moving to the Cleveland area next year in 2024. So it has been a great spot here. The American Rivers Conference, the host, took a little extra time there to let the catcher Sam Frank gather himself as that foul tip did go off his mask. And here's the pitch now from Cole Jefferson. Jefferson came in with 2 outs in the 1st inning. So, yes, he gave up a base hit to this man, Holden Fiedler, and then the 2-run home run to Ben Jones. But overall, Cole Jefferson's pitched pretty well. He also surrendered a single to Eric Hyatt. Lynchburg has 4 hits total, and they have 4 runs. Tie ball game right now in the bottom of the 4th inning. So now 4s are wild. We probably over-mentioned the deuces wild thing. It's quads wild right here. 4s are wild. Fiedler took a good rip at another one, but that's a foul ball. Yeah, this is game, let's see. It was game, I'm just adding up all the games here. 14 games to get to the championship series. So this is the 17th game that we've played here at PG Cares Field in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And once again, tip your cap to the staff and everybody that has been associated with this one. So much hard work goes into it. And we've finally reached a conclusion. Lynchburg Hornet fans hoping it's an exclamation point. 2-2 to Fiedler. How about another base hit as Holden Fiedler shoots one over the shortstop and into center field. Holden Fiedler's 2 for 2. He is on board again as the leadoff man. This is Carson Atkins. Center fielder flew out to right in his first at bat. That was shallow right field. Fiedler's first hit went to right, so he's moving it all around the ballpark. Going with the pitch, classic hitting from Holden Fiedler. 5 hits now for Lynchburg. Third baseman creeping in, expecting bunt. Atkins does bunt. Right back to the pitcher, but Jefferson will only have one place to go. That's the first to retire the speedy Carson Atkins for the initial out of the inning. Brandon Garcia is the leadoff hitter. He's 0 for 1 with a walk. And he did score a run in that first inning. Lynchburg is tied with Johns Hopkins 4-4. Brandon Garcia, 3 hits yesterday, including a triple in that 9th inning. 3 hits earlier today. 3 hits in game 2 of this series. And Garcia had a triple in that 9th inning. Takes a rip at the first one, and that ball came in our direction so much that the guy in the box beside us jumped after it. I'm going to estimate Tim LaDuca. I'm about 5'10", 5'11". I'm going to estimate that ball was about another 5 feet over our heads, maybe 6. 0-1 count on Brandon Garcia. Fastball for strike 2. Tim LaDuca is disputing my height that I gave him there, and I want to move past it because I don't want to know if he thinks I'm taller or shorter. I don't want to get my feelings hurt. The Lynchburg reserves in the stands are doing the row the boat move back here. Here's the pitch to Brandon Garcia. He'll stay alive with another ball somewhat in our direction, but this one is about 30 feet to our left. Those Lynchburg reserves, the non-uniform players, you can only get 25 in the dugout. They've been a sideshow. I hate to say sideshow. That makes it sound like a bad thing. They've been a show all of their own in the bleachers here at PG Cares Field. 0-2 to Garcia, staying alive. Fouls another one away. Good long at bat here, even though Cole Jefferson hasn't thrown a ball yet. I called those Lynchburg non-rostered players or non-uniform players the long-range artillery. They're providing support from off the battlefield. That might be too violent or warlike of a reference. Another 0-2 pitch coming up to Brandon Garcia. This time it was a fastball that was in the other batter's box. 1 ball, 2 strikes for Brandon Garcia. The freshman from Durham, North Carolina, has been everything and more that you would ask for from a baseball player. And he's just a freshman. Jefferson checks the runner. That's Fiedler. Now the pitch, and Garcia will spray another one away. 4th foul ball of the at-bat. So combine that with 1 ball and 2 strikes. It's now a 7-pitch at-bat between Cole Jefferson and Brandon Garcia. This is that battle that I was talking about. The heart and soul of our game. A good long at-bat. Each guy gets tested, has to dig deep, find something in reserves, summon it up, trust your skills. Garcia will finally put one in play between the lines, and it's a catchable fly ball in center field. That's the new man, Ciani, who's out there in place of Tripp Myers, who started the game. 2 outs now after Garcia hits the fly ball. And this is Benny Bombs. Hit his 9th home run of the season. That's why he got the nickname after all. Ben Jones, 9 homers, 3 triples, and 13 doubles. Maximum power for this guy. And again, just a freshman. Fastball missed. He does have a 2-homer game this season. That was back on ODAC tournament opening weekend play, where he took 2 balls deep against Bridgewater in an 11-1 victory. One of them was huge, a 3-run jack late in the game. Ben Jones thought about messing up that curveball, but lays off instead. It's a 1-1 count with 2 outs. Tension building here as we get into the bottom of the 4th inning. Tie ball game, 4-4. Fiedler at second. Ben Jones will take a fastball, outer half for strike 2. May have been a changeup, actually, from Cole Jefferson. This will be pitch number 47 for Jefferson coming up. He's the second pitcher Hopkins has used. Ben Jones took him deep in his last at bat. Here comes the 1-2. Oh, and they got the fastball in the cage but over the plate, and that is strike three looking. Ben Jones will have to walk back to the dugout disappointed, and the score line will stay. 4-4, tie ball game through 4 in the winner-take-all Game 3 of this National Championship Series between Lynchburg and Johns Hopkins. Through 4 innings, we are tied at 4 in what has become the national championship game. That's what it is now. It's a national championship series, a best 2 out of 3, but we are at Game 3. Each team has 1 win apiece, and it all comes down to this. We're getting ready to start the top of the 5th inning. The first baseman, Dylan Souvenir, will lead off against Jack Batchmore. Lefty still working for Lynchburg. Seems to be getting better and better as the game goes on. Hornets have scored their 4 runs on 5 hits. They've left 4 stranded, 2 of those in scoring position. Johns Hopkins has 4 runs on 5 hits. They've left 3 on, and 2 of those in scoring position. It's a 3-up, 3-down inning last inning for Jack Batchmore. That will not be duplicated as Dylan Souvenir turns on one and sends that into right field for a leadoff single. The hitter is now Sean Stour. Third baseman has a sac fly and a double. So he has had a successful game so far. Game 2, earlier this afternoon, Stoyer actually got on via 2 errors. He lined into a double play, grounded out to short, and also flew out to left. Sean Stoyer was 0 for 3 in the first game between these 2 ball clubs on yesterday. That seems like an eternity ago, too. It's hard to keep it all straight. A lot of baseball in a short amount of time, and it's been a long season to begin with. Lynchburg 47-8 coming into this game. So this is, what is that? This is game 56 for Lynchburg. Game 56, which then kind of makes it harder to wrap your head around the fact that the big league guys play 162. Breaking ball misses from Jack Batchmore. It was close. Just came in over the zone, I think. Kind of rolled right over it because Holden Fiedler's mitt was actually in a pretty good spot. It's a 3-0 count on Stoyer. Here's the pitch from Batchmore. He will get a strike swinging as Stoyer went and hacking at that one. Johns Hopkins is aggressive, bordering on ultra-aggressive. They swing the bat a lot. If you look at their per-game strikeout and walk totals, they're both lower than Lynchburg's because they don't get to a lot of 2-strike and 3-ball counts. Stoyer's not going to get there. Well, it's a 3-1 count, but Avery Neves will make the grab in left center gap on a 3-1 count. Souvenir had to really hustle back as he took a long break on that one, expecting it to maybe be down. He got almost all the way to second base. Then when Neves caught it, he had to reverse course and really book it back to his home port there at first. So there's 1 out. Sam Frank is the catcher, hitting cleanup for Johns Hopkins. He has a walk and a strikeout so far in this game. They've got the runner picked. Hyatt's going to have to unload quickly. He does get it to Brandon Garcia. He makes the catch and makes the tag. on the move there. Garcia had to come from a long way away in his normal position at second base. Jack Batchmore picked up the leg and went to first base. The runner's souvenir was off on first movement. So it was a really good play also by Eric Hyatt to catch and unload and throw it to second base and put it on target where Brandon Garcia could catch it. Fastball up. It's a 1-0 start to Sam Frank. File that one away, though. Big play for Lynchburg there defensively. Sam Frank leans into one to left field. Neves looking up. It's gone. It's a home run, but it's a solo shot only for Sam Frank. So I said file it away. Typically, it's later on you're looking to file, but we can look back right now. That would have been a 2-run home run if Jack Batchmore, Eric Hyatt, and Brandon Garcia hadn't combined on a very nice pickoff there to erase Dylan Souvenir, who was trying to steal on first movement. So I hate to take some of the drama away from Sam Frank. Props to him for the solo home run, but it is just a solo home run. That could loom large. Back to that pickoff there. That could loom very large. Ciani's going to try to bunt. Pops it up. Foul. Gavin Collins got close, but not close enough to even dive after that one. It's just strike one. The lead is back to Johns Hopkins. 5-4 advantage. Up until inning number 1 of our first game today, which was game 2 in the series, Lynchburg had not trailed in Cedar Rapids. They'd been tied, but they hadn't trailed in Cedar Rapids. They're behind again by 1. 5-4 Hopkins lead. Here comes an 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, and Jack Batchmore has his 6th strikeout of the game, but the lead is gone again. Lynchburg down by 1, heading to the bottom of the 5th inning here in the winner-take-all national championship game. Three, 4, 5 due up for Lynchburg in their half of the 5th inning. They'll be playing from behind once again. 5-4. Johns Hopkins snatches the lead back with the solo home run from Sam Frank, but just a solo home run as Dylan Souvenir was picked off, and that could be a key play. Let's be honest, though, baseball fans, everything is a key play at this point, isn't it? Every out, every at-bat, every pitch. You feel the weight. You feel the value. You feel the pressure, I think. Do the great players feel the pressure? Maybe. The great golfer Jack Nicklaus said even after all those major championship wins, he still felt pressure out there, and he thought that was a good thing. If you feel pressure, that means you care about it. It means you want to be successful. Pressure is a privilege is something that coaches will say. Avery Neves fouls one away. It's a 1-2 count on Neves. He is the leadoff hitter, batting out of the 3 spot for Lynchburg. Sean Pokerock next. Eric Hyatt will follow. Pitcher is still Cole Jefferson for Johns Hopkins. This will be pitch number 51 for Jefferson, entered in the first inning with 2 outs. So give him some credit. He, of course, did surrender the lead. Ben Jones, a 2-run home run in the second. That tied things up, but now Hopkins back on top. 2-2 pitch coming up to Avery Neves from the right-handed Jefferson. That hit Avery Neves. And he's aboard. We know Avery Neves is the all-time walks leader in Lynchburg history. He's the all-time walks leader in conference history. He'll be climbing up that hit by pitch chart. Probably not going to catch Cam Lane, who got hit by a pitch for the 60th time yesterday when he came in as a pinch hitter in the 8th and the 9th inning in Lynchburg's 5-2 win over Johns Hopkins. 5-4 ball game. Here's Sean Pokerock. Freshman will watch this one go downstairs, and the count is 1-0. Nobody out with Avery Neves on first. A threat to run. Of course, Neves leads the team in stolen bases. 29 for 31 this season. Couple here in Cedar Rapids. Another good pitch from Cole Jefferson, but Sean Pokerock did not chase. Count is 2-0, and it'll be a brief mound visit from the catcher Sam Frank to talk to Cole Jefferson. Yeah, Lynchburg won the first game in this best-of-3 series 5-2 yesterday. Game 2, our first one of this afternoon, started at 11 a.m. That was the 11-6 Johns Hopkins victory. Lynchburg fell behind early, actually had a lead 2-1. They were up 3-1 for a while, then 3-2. And it was a 5-run explosion in the 5th inning for Hopkins. That gave them a lead they would not surrender. This is a 5-4 lead right now in the bottom of the 5th. In the championship game, winner take all. Ball popped out of the mid of the catcher, but Neves could not advance. It's a 3-0 count on Sean Pokerock. Mound visit coming up from the coach now, and it will be in the middle of the at-bat again, which I'll point out is slightly unorthodox, but Cole Jefferson entered in the middle of an at-bat and actually recorded the out. He had a 2-0 count to start Jackson Harding. He got Harding to hit a hot shot right at his defender at second base. So the catcher just took a mound visit. Now the coach takes a mound visit. I guess there's some debate there about rhythm and those sorts of things. But maybe if your pitcher's struggling, you do want to change the rhythm in some way. You want to switch it up, even if that means slowing things down. Looks like Cole Jefferson's going to stay out there. There are two arms warming up in the Johns Hopkins bullpen. It is a 5-4 ball game. It'll be a 3-0 count to Sean Pokerock. I think a lot of coaches also prefer to take the mound visit just like bringing in a new pitcher with a fresh count before you've thrown to a batter rather than already after having thrown 3 pitches to Sean Pokerock. 3 balls, and there's ball 4. So no immediate result from the mound visit, and it's a walk. Sean Pokerock is on for the second time in this ball game. There are runners on first and second. Here's Eric Hyatt. 1 for 2. We know he has been absolutely ruthless in postseason play, what he has been doing to opposing pitchers in baseballs. Do you sacrifice bunt here with Eric Hyatt when he's been swinging probably your best bat in postseason play? Well, we're going to have to wait on that because it'll be basically a mound visit in between each pitch. The catcher went out. He threw a pitch. The coach went out. Jefferson threw another pitch, but he's thrown his last pitch because head coach Bob Babb makes the walk to the mound to make a pitching change. Let's catch our breath for a few seconds here. We will reorganize and come back with more baseball. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Lynchburg trailing by 1, but they've got 2 runners on with nobody out, getting ready to face a new arm out of the Blue Jay bullpen. Hang on. The new pitcher for Johns Hopkins is Jasper Carmichael, number 42, has a 1.52 earned run average. This will be appearance number 16. He does have a couple saves, just 23 and 2/3 innings in 16 appearances, so you know he's a short order guy. An inning here, an inning there. We'll see how long he stays in this ball game. Batters hitting just 179 off Jasper Carmichael. The numbers would indicate that he is an elite option for these Blue Jays of Johns Hopkins out of Baltimore, Maryland. University of Lynchburg from the Hill City of Lynchburg in Central Virginia, making the Commonwealth proud. First D3 school from Virginia to make it to a national championship game. Also the first school from the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. Here's the pitch from Carmichael to Eric Hyatt, ball one. Carmichael comes at you with a somewhat funky delivery. It's real slow pacing, real slow tempo as he picks up, nice and methodical. Knee and leg get high in the air, and then he really gets down the hill over the top. A true over-the-top arm action. 1-0 count on Eric Hyatt. Corners are in on the infield here. There's a fastball for Jasper Carmichael for a strike. 1-1 for Eric Hyatt. A single in the last game. Game 2 of the 3-game series. Eric Hyatt has been swinging a great bat the entire postseason. Some big games for Eric Hyatt, but then also just a hit here and a hit here, hit there kind of games. He does have one single in this ball game as well. He was stranded in the 3rd inning. Runners on 1st and 2nd. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. 2-1 count for the sophomore Eric Hyatt. Here's the pitch from Carmichael. He has to dance out of the way. That one almost hit him in the calf. And now it's a 3-1 hitters count for Eric Hyatt. Hyatt had 2 hits yesterday and drove in 2. Also a walk. Crowd really coming alive. And not just that long-range artillery section of Lynchburg's stands, everybody. Carmichael checks the runner. Eric Hyatt takes ball 4. Bases will be loaded now. Carmichael was close with that one. It was probably just about what he wanted. You know Eric Hyatt is swinging a great bat. You don't necessarily just want to cave 3-1 and go middle, feed him one in his honey hole. So that pitch was pretty close. And here we go. Bases loaded for Gavin Collins. This is the loudest I've heard the crowd yet. And it's the biggest game, so it makes perfect sense. You get to this World Series, you get to this 2023 Division III baseball championship, and every game is probably going to be the biggest game you've played, not just this season, but probably in your life. 1-0 count for Gavin Collins. He's already driven in 2 with a first inning single. See if Gavin Collins can get some more here. Oh, Gavin Collins absolutely smashed that ball, but foul. Gavin Collins is always ready to clock in and go to work. Nobody out with bases loaded as well, so don't be too greedy right here if you're Gavin Collins. You don't have to get the big fly. Get something elevated. Tried to again, waited on a breaking ball, shot that over the Johns Hopkins dugout for strike 2. Infield is back also, by the way. That's worth pointing out that a ground ball should probably score Avery Neves as well. Anything by the pitcher anyway. The bases are loaded. Neves at 3rd, Pokerock at 2nd, Eric Hyatt is at 1st. Gavin Collins is the batter. Junior from Clifton, Virginia is ready. That one high, not anywhere close. That was ball 2. 2-2 count for Gavin Collins. Jasper Carmichael is the new pitcher. He has walked Eric Hyatt. Collins is the second batter he's faced. Here's the pitch, swing and a miss from Gavin Collins. That was a fastball with good velocity just below the knee that Collins couldn't lay off of and couldn't get the bat on. Out number 1. And that's why I say back to the old don't try to do too much. You don't need to hit a ball halfway back to Virginia because a ground ball would score 1. Now, not necessarily if Hopkins can turn 2. There is 1 out. Base is still loaded, and it's Jackson Harding. 0 for 2 in this game, but he's hit it hard twice, right at the second baseman both times. First pitch hack from Harding, and it's a foul ball. Great players seem to deliver in the pressure moments. Not always. It's baseball after all. Nobody's going to deliver 100% of the time. Seems like those great players, though, they're ready. They are ready. Lynchburg has been ready when the spotlight is shining brightest. Foul tip. Hit the catcher's mitt. Neves wasn't sure, so he decided just to scamper home. But it is a foul ball. 0-2 count pretty quickly on Gavin Collins. So Jasper Carmichael perhaps gaining a little momentum here. He's the third pitcher Hopkins has used. Lynchburg's only needed one so far. Jack Batchmore gave up 4 in the first inning. Zeros in 2, 3, and 4. And then a solo homer for Johns Hopkins gave them the lead back in the top of this 5th inning. We're in the bottom of the 5th right now. Here's the pitch to Harding, and another foul ball. Another one back in our direction. 0-2 count with 1 out. Hyatt at first, Pokerock at second, Neves at third. Lynchburg in those home reds that they love, white pants, black helmet right now on offense, black hat with the red bill on defense. Crowd coming alive again. 0-2 pitch coming up from Carmichael to Harding. Jackson Harding staying alive with another foul ball. He had the at-bat that I keep talking about in Game 1 against Wisconsin lacrosse for Lynchburg, where he fouled off 6 consecutive pitches and then punched a ball through the hole on the left side for an RBI single. Something similar here would be the biggest hit of Harding's career. Carmichael, long look at the sign. Now he's ready to go. Set, middle of the chest. Harding into right center field. That is down. That is down for a double. 2 runs are in. Let's see if Hyatt gets sent. Yes, he does. Coming home, slides in. It's a bases clearing double for the key man from Keysville, Virginia. Jackson Harding has done it again. He fouled off multiple pitches. He stayed in there and saw it all the way from Carmichael and just wrecked it into right center field for a 3-run double. How about Jackson Harding, the pride of Randolph-Henry High School right now, statesman in the national championship game, and he is getting it done for these Lynchburg Hornets. Jackson Harding delivering, and the inning is not over yet. It's a bases-clearing double. There is 1 out, and Lynchburg still with a runner in scoring position. 7-5, Hornets on top. They have taken the lead back. Holden Fiedler is 2 for 2. He's swinging a fiery bat right now. Hopefully Fiedler doesn't cool off anytime soon. 0-1 count. Good pitch from Carmichael. High heater upstairs that caught the top of the zone. This one's a breaking ball, so Carmichael's changing it up. Good action on that. Good action on that curveball. Which kind of makes you marvel even more about what Jackson Harding did in his at-bat. A 2-strike, 3 RBI double for Jackson Harding. 0-2 pitch coming up to Holden Fiedler. Carmichael does look at Harding at second. Harding not really bouncing off, but extending the lead slightly. And that ball is in the other batter's box for the first miss of the at-bat. 1-2 count. Atkins on deck, and then the top of the order for Lynchburg. Got to act on this momentum. Ride the wave as long as you can if you're Lynchburg. Get as many runs as you can in this inning. I know you're thinking that all the time, but you got this momentum. You got to make the most of it here. Fiedler will swing and miss. That was a fastball that was tailing out of the zone. And it's out number 2, strikeout number 2 for Jasper Carmichael. He's got the ball back. He's waiting on Carson Atkins to get in there. Doesn't look like Carmichael's lost any confidence despite giving up the double. Carson Atkins, 0 for 1 in this game. Did have a sacrifice bunt. Curveball, strike 1. Atkins was 0 for 4 in Game 2. That was earlier this afternoon, where Johns Hopkins won 11-6 to force this, if necessary, Game 3 game. The winner take all for the national championship. Atkins was on that spinner, just missed it. Timed it up nicely, though. Saw it out of Carmichael's hands. 0-2 count on Carson Atkins. Jackson Harding, bases clearing double, leads off at second base. Carmichael, set, lifts the leg, fires. Another breaking ball. This one's low. 3 straight curveballs on Carson Atkins. So you know Hopkins has got him scouted. We know Carson Atkins is not your typical 9-hole hitter. Sometimes you might just feed those guys fastballs down the middle. Not so when you have Carson Atkins' resume. 1-2 count with 2 outs. Carmichael will spin, and make the soft toss to the second baseman. 7-5 ball game. Lynchburg trailed 4-0 after the top of the first. They answered with 2. They tied the game in the second. That was Ben Jones' 2-run home run. They fell behind again to start this inning, but now they're on top after a 3-run double from Jackson Harding. Ball 2 to Carson Atkins. Brandon Garcia does wait on deck. He is 0 for 2 with a walk. Kyle Haney having the time of my life watching this stuff up close and personal. 2-2 pitch coming from Carmichael. Missed away. Count is now full. It's been a dream season in a lot of ways. The dream is real. Lynchburg has a 2-run lead. They're 4 innings away from a national championship. It's going to be a lot of twists and turns in that 4 innings. Trust me. Swing and a miss from Carson Atkins. Inning is over. Damage is done. Hornets back on top. 7-5 Lynchburg over Johns Hopkins through 5. We're heading to the top of the 6th from the national championship game at Veterans Memorial Stadium in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Lynchburg takes the lead with a 3 RBI double from Jackson Harding. The key man from Keysville found the right one to unlock the combination on Jasper Carmichael. Bust down that safe and get in there and snatch 3 runs out of it before the inning ended. Jackson Harding, remember, in that at-bat, in classic Harding fashion, had to foul off some tough pitches from Jasper Carmichael. But finally, the key unlocks 3 more runs for Lynchburg. They lead 7-5. We've got a new Lynchburg pitcher. It's Logan Tapman on the bump in relief of Jack Batchmore. Couple reasons for this move, I'm sure. Batchmore's pitch count was getting elevated, and then you have a longer inning there where Lynchburg does score 3. They leave Harding stranded in scoring position. But I think that longer delay there for Batchmore, if you were on the fence about bringing Jack back out for the 6th inning, that might have swayed the decision for the coaching staff back to the other side of the fence as far as let's make a change. Tapman is ready. Tapman has warmed up several times in this CWS trip here. But this will be his first time pitching in the ball game, or in a ball game here in the national championship. Logan Tapman is another one of those talented freshmen. Just get a recording of me saying that here on this audio and use it. Although, last game of the season, no matter what, you won't be able to use it anymore. We'll be saying he's another one of those talented sophomores. It'll be that line, I guess. But Logan Tapman, a freshman from Berlin, Maryland, the eastern part of Maryland, just outside Ocean City there. This will be game number 13. And he's pitched in some pressure situations. He actually took the ball against a ranked Christopher Newport squad on the road down in Newport News. Didn't factor in the decision. Lynchburg ended up losing that game. But for Tapman, we saw him against Shenandoah. That was in ODAC tournament play, not the super regional game against Shenandoah, but ODAC play against Shenandoah. It was 1.1 innings, struck out 2, walked none, surrendered 1 base hit, and did get the win in that game. That was the comeback game, the 11-9 victory for Lynchburg. They were down 8-0 on that Saturday in Richmond. They ran off 11 straight, slammed the door at the end to win an ODAC championship and ring the bell. Lynchburg Hornets looking to ring the bell again with a national championship. 1-2 count for Logan Tapman on Caleb Sear. Sear is homered in this game. He's dangerous. Oh, and Tapman hit him. That one slipped out of his hand. That wasn't like the one that, hits you on the inside of the knee or the elbow or those things. That actually hit Sear on his backside. So a bit of a wide miss for Logan Tapman. We'll see if that was just a blip in the radar, grip issue maybe. Sometimes when you try to go to your changeup for the first time in a game, it's just kind of wayward on you. Yeah, you've thrown it in the bullpen, obviously, and you've thrown it thousands of times maybe. But those first maybe changeup or even the first breaking ball, sometimes you just don't quite have the feel on that one just yet. And there is a runner on first. Leadoff man is on. Jimmy Stevens is the hitter. He struck out twice in this game so far. Second baseman for Hopkins bats from the right side. Check swing, foul tip into Fiedler's mitt, strike one. Collins is even with the bag at third. Infield double play depth. And let's reset that infield for you. Nothing has changed there. Fiedler's the catcher, Hyatt at first, Jones at second, Garcia short, Collins at third. Tapman, long hold, set, now pumps the arms, pitches, ball one. In the outfield left to right, it's Avery Neves, Carson Atkins, and Jackson Harding out there in right field. He's played an outstanding right field his whole career, but again, specifically, I mean that about this trip to Cedar Rapids. Harding's played every inning out there. Outfield has been intact every inning, actually. Breaking ball in the dirt. What a slide to stop by Holden Fiedler. It kind of kicked and bounced up the first base line, but Fiedler was sliding that way anyway, so he gobbles it up, and Caleb Sear at first base cannot advance. But it is ball two. Count is 2-1 to Jimmy Stevens. Stevens struck out 3 times in the first game, but he also homered and doubled. So when he did get the bat on the ball, it was difference-making stuff from Jimmy Stevens. Holds the arms away from his body, lashes at this one. Harding is there, shielding his eyes from the sun, parked behind it. Now he'll take a step in and catch it in front of his face for the first out of the inning. One retired, one on still. That's Caleb Sear at first, and the batter will be Dylan Whitney. Whitney's 0 for 2 in this game. He's flown out to center. He statistically, coming into this game, had been swinging the best bat in this national championship trip for Johns Hopkins. He had 3 hits in game 2 earlier this afternoon. 1 against Pond, 2 against Matt Cassidy. And that gave Dylan Whitney 3 for the tournament. So it looks like the overall numbers now for Dylan Whitney here in Cedar Rapids. Let me just crunch the numbers real quick because Holden Fiedler's taking a mound visit with Logan Tapman. The overall average for Dylan Whitney is .440 here in Cedar Rapids. And I'll tell you, we've got the 2 best teams in the country right here. We might have the 2 best shortstops in the country. Dylan Whitney's hitting .440 against the best competition. Brandon Garcia is probably right around 300. I'll add that up maybe in between innings. And both of these guys have done some things defensively that just knock your socks right off. Brandon Garcia specifically. No offense to Dylan Whitney, but Brandon Garcia. Diving plays he was making yesterday, the things he does to impact the game, even if it's just with his energy. Garcia's that chatterbox guy out there. When Garcia was hurt, he would be the first one out of the dugouts in between innings to greet the pitcher coming off or if a defender made a nice play. Big hack from Whitney. Comes up empty, and the count is no balls and 1 strike. There's 1 out. Garcia has been instrumental in some of those double play turns that Lynchburg has been so good at. Lynchburg leading the country in double plays defensively. They lead the country in walks as an offense. 0-2 count. Logan Tapman gets a heater across for the second strike. Umpires are going to call time. We had a baseball that got loose down in the left field corner there. That's some more Lynchburg pitchers freshening the arms. I guess we got to start talking about Mason McDowell. He would be a potential option for Lynchburg to pitch in this ball game. He's got a save here in Cedar Rapids. That was on night 1 against Wisconsin lacrosse. Here comes Tapman, ground ball to Ben Jones. They've got 1. Garcia there, throws to first. They got another one. That was the appetizer, the main course, and then dessert in a huge spot for Lynchburg. How about that? They take the lead in the bottom of the 5th, and then a double play to get out of the 6th inning unscathed. The Hornets lead 7-5, looking for more. Bottom 6 on the way in just a moment here from Cedar Rapids, Iowa in the national championship. It's right on brand for the Lynchburg baseball team again. They take the lead with 3 runs on 1 hit in the 5th inning. A key big knock from Jackson Harding, the key man. Drove in 3 players that got there from 2 walks and 1 hit by pitch. So that's what I mean about on brand for Lynchburg offensively. And then defensively, that fits the script as well. You get a ground ball to Ben Jones. He flips to the high school teammate Brandon Garcia at second for the first one. He flings it across the diamond to sophomore Eric Hyatt for the 3rd out. Double play. Another nation-leading double play. Brandon Garcia is leading off here in the 6th inning, and he takes strike 1. We're just reliving some of these great moments in real time almost. That's the crazy thing. But we're gonna relive it. We're gonna relive it again in years to come, or on the drive home, plane ride home. 0-2 count on Brandon Garcia. That's one is upstairs, no good. And it is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jasper Carmichael still pitching. He's the third arm that Hopkins has used. Lynchburg has used 2 pitchers, Jack Batchmore and now Logan Tapman. Garcia, roller to first base. Shouldn't be a problem for Souvenir. He does get to the bag before Garcia, and that's out number 1. Ben Jones will hit. Struck out in his last at-bat, but his second plate appearance was monumental and memorable for Benny Bombs. He parked another one, home run that tied the game up at that point 4-4. Hopkins did briefly go ahead in the top of the 5th with 1 run, and then Lynchburg answered with the Harding bases-clearing double. Jones has not faced Jasper Carmichael yet. He came in against Eric Hyatt. He walked Hyatt, struck out Collins, then gave up the double. So it's all fresh look here for these batters. Jones swings on that, and it's fouled. Lynchburg bullpen is buzzing with activity again. 1 arm getting loose in Johns Hopkins bullpen. Needs to be another term for bullpen, because that's one you use a lot in a baseball game, and you need to have some variety of how you can change it up. Arm barn. Good grief, Tim LaDuca. That is incredible. Arm barn. You've stolen that from somebody. Okay, good. You could say warm-up area, but that's kind of weak. Yeah, 2-1 count on Ben Jones. Here's the pitch from Carmichael. Fastball in, nearly hit Ben Jones, but it's just ball 3. 3-1 count. Good count for a guy like Ben Jones to get into one. He doesn't need a hitter's count to get into one, but let's see how much he loads up. Here's the pitch from Carmichael. Jones wanted another one high in the air, right center gap. Long run for Ciani, the center fielder, but he does make the grab a few feet in front of the warning track. So Jones did go after one there as expected, but just quite missed. Didn't quite get enough. Just missed it slightly. And that brings up Avery Neves with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning. Neves is 0 for 1, but he's walked and been hit. He's been on twice. Neves, right-handed swinger, facing the right-hander Jasper Carmichael. That's ball 1. Carmichael's 35th pitch. Logan Tapman probably threw less than 10 pitches in his inning. Maybe right at it. We'll find out. Another one that is out of the zone, and now the count is 2 balls and no strikes with 2 outs to Avery Neves. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. National championship game. Lynchburg leading 7-5. The tension has increased throughout the day, and it will continue to increase. Everybody's feeling it. I think the folks outside feel it more than the players feel it. Although, again, everybody's a unique individual. Who knows? But typically as the fan and the broadcaster and the coach, it hits you pretty hard. Hits you really hard. We have so many folks tuning in and saying, hey, we've got Mr. Priester there in Centerville. Played baseball at Lynchburg 99-03 when Coach Lucas Jones was there. So much good stuff happening online. Good stuff happening on the diamond, of course. It's another walk for Avery Neves. No real surprise there for Avery Neves. The career leader in walks is aboard with the free pass, and Sean Pokerock will hit. With 2 outs and a runner on first, bottom of the 6th, his team sporting the 2-run lead. 7-5 Lynchburg. Pokerock is 0 for 1, just like Neves. He's just like Neves, been walked and hit by a pitch. Now Neves has walked twice, though. Fastball, wide left, to Pokerock. 1-0 count. Carmichael got the first 2 outs of this inning pretty quickly. That was Garcia and Jones. Now he's facing a fellow freshman in Sean Pokerock. Neves has been picked. He's going to try to beat the throw to second. He will beat it. Now the throw's in left field, and Avery Neves is going to scamper into third base. No play there as that one got away from Dylan Souvenir, the first baseman. We had seen similar situations. In fact, Lynchburg picked a runner off, Jack Batchmore, to Eric Hyatt, who had to unload really quickly to get it to Brandon Garcia for a key out in that 5th inning. That turned a 2-run home run into a solo home run because of that pickoff. We've seen Eric Hyatt have trouble making that throw. And here, the first baseman for Johns Hopkins has trouble. Souvenir just airmailed the target there at short. 2-0 count for Sean Pokerock. There's pressuring the defense right there. It's not textbook, obviously. Neves was picked, but that speed and that baseball IQ, it makes a difference. There's a fastball at the chin for the 3rd miss of the at-bat. 3-0 count for Sean Pokerock. 2 outs. Green light, maybe. Lynchburg's up by 2. 7-5. Got a great hitter coming behind him in Eric Hyatt. That might be a reason to put the red light on here with this 3-0 delivery. It was a fastball for a strike, and now we'll try it again, 3-1. 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th inning. 7-5, Lynchburg leading by 2. Carmichael set, now delivers. Fastball upstairs, another walk, back-to-back walks. Second free pass that Pokerock has drawn this game. For Lynchburg, we know the walks are part of their offensive program. By my count, that is walk number 6. And they've been hit twice to go along with 6 hits. 7 runs on 6 hits. But the difference is those walks in there and the hit batters. Eric Hyatt is ready. He is 1 for 2 with a walk himself. Fans getting behind Eric Hyatt. Wants the first one elevated into right center field. It should be an out. Center fielder Ciani comes on, and the grab is made. Hyatt looked to be on time, but just got under that, and Lynchburg will strand 2 in their half of the 6th inning. Hornets do lead by 2. 7-5 Lynchburg going into the 7th. Championship rounds now. Pressure is real for both of these ball clubs. Let's see if Lynchburg can close it down and get their first national championship in baseball. It's all going to unfold right before our eyes next on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. It's a new pitcher for Lynchburg. It's Maximum Mason. Mason McDowell, the hard-throwing right-handed freshman from Fishersville, Virginia, is on in the 7th inning. Top of the 7th, Lynchburg leading 7-5. Kyle Haney spending some time with you. So many great folks saying hello on the social media, the YouTube broadcast, personal hellos. It's overwhelming sometimes, and we know we've missed some folks, so apologies. And then, of course, there's some people who prefer to remain anonymous. They don't want us to talk about them. But we've got them. We know you're listening now and beyond. And what a dream season. And it could be a dream finish for Lynchburg. As I might have adjusted the audio there, Tim LaDuca. Tim is giving it the once-over. But it looks about the same, right? I was moving the cursor around, and I got crazy, and the pressure's getting to me. That's only half of a joke. I'm halfway joking there. Ball one from Mason McDowell. We last saw Mason on Friday night, closing out a game against Wisconsin lacrosse. That was McDowell's first save. Sam Browning, the right fielder, will take a swipe at this second pitch in the at-bat, and Jackson Harding under it for out number one. We are in the top of the seventh inning. It's a 7-5 Lynchburg lead. Here comes the top of the order for Johns Hopkins, and boy, this is a meat grinder. This is a difficult lineup top to bottom, but their first 3 or 4 hitters, gosh, it's a really tough proposition for a pitcher. Lynchburg's done as good of a job as anybody has this season. They're looking to become the first team to say they beat Johns Hopkins twice this year. Hopkins is 48-7 on the season. Lynchburg is 47-8. McDowell pumping 2 strikes across. Ball one. Okay, 1-1 count with 1 out to Matthew Cooper. He's 2 for 3 in this game. Cooper was 2 for 4 last game with a homer and a double. Oh, McDowell took something off of that and had Cooper way out front. Cooper's swing is just picture-perfect textbook. Back in the day, everybody used to show the Ken Griffey swing as like the most beautiful, aesthetically pleasing swing of all time. I feel like Cooper as a right-hander, he might be in that aesthetically pleasing swing. He gets a lot out of that swing as well. I mentioned the homer and the double last game, 2 for 3 in this game. 2-2 pitch. Here comes McDowell. Check swing, and he got him. Yes, he did go around. Mason McDowell with a strikeout. It's the second out of the 7th inning, and a great pitch to remove the danger man, Matthew Cooper. How good was that? McDowell on here in the 7th inning. Jack Batchmore started it, went 5 for Lynchburg. Didn't pitch terrible, didn't pitch bad by any means. Just a rocky first inning. Batchmore gave up 4 in the first inning on 3 base hits, but then only surrendered 1 run after that. It was just a solo home run. 1-0 start here to Dylan Souvenir. Souvenir was late on one, but it will find the hole and bounce into left field for a base hit. Souvenir's 3rd hit of the game, to go along with a couple doubles earlier this afternoon. Have a day, Dylan Souvenir. See how Mason McDowell can pitch with runners on base. This is Sean Stour, 3rd baseman, has a double and a sacrifice fly in this game. But McDowell is the 3rd pitcher that Lynchburg has used. He throws a breaking ball off the plate for ball 1. It was Jack Batchmore for 5. Logan Tapman pitched the 6th inning, hit a batter, but then got a fly out and the 4-6-3 double play. Speaking of fly outs, Carson Atkins is going to try to take this hit away. He does. On the move to his left for the final out of the inning. Mason McDowell, not 3 up, 3 down. He does surrender a single, but a very good top of the 7th for the freshman from Lynchburg. And the Hornets lead 7-5. They're 6 outs away from a national championship now, maybe looking for some insurance in the bottom of the 7th. It's coming up next on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. We're getting ready for the bottom of the 7th inning. And the Lynchburg crowd is down there sort of rallying each other. You've got parents and players standing up saying, we've got to go crazy now more than you ever have. We've got 6 outs to get. Lynchburg is hitting in the bottom of the 7th. Insurance runs paramount at this stage of the game. Mason McDowell has thrown the 7th inning. I would assume he's coming back for the 8th. But blowing the game open and taking the pressure off of your pitcher would be huge. Gavin Collins tried to put pressure on. He jumped on a fastball early and pulled it foul. A long, long foul ball for Gavin Collins. But yeah, the pressure continues to build on both teams, on both ball clubs. 7-5 Lynchburg leads. Breaking ball upstairs is a miss, and the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. Gavin Collins had the key 2 RBI single in the first inning. He's popped out to the second baseman and struck out once since then. Gavin Collins, smooth as lotion over there at third base. But he can be electric in the batter's box. 2-1 count. Here comes a pitch from Carmichael. Low. 3-1. Carmichael's 50th delivery will be coming up in just a moment. 3-1 count to Gavin Collins. 6, 7, 8 due up here for Lynchburg. Collins went after one, missed, and now the count is full. It really is white-knuckle stuff now. I mean, the tension is building. We are building to a dramatic finish. We've already had high drama up to this point. We are building to something. You can feel it. Collins went after that one hard, swung and missed. First out of the bottom of the 7th inning. Here comes Jackson Harding. How about the way Jackson Harding delivered in his last at-bat? Bases were loaded of Hornets, and Harding cleared the bases of Hornets. He sent 3 of the hive, or sent 3 Hornets back to the hive, perhaps would be a better way to phrase it, with this double in the right center gap. Fastball, no good, and it's a 1-0 count for the key man from Keysville, Virginia, Jackson Harding. And one of the all-time nice guys for Lynchburg baseball as well, this man right here. Rest of the team likes to call him Jay Hard, which is cool too. I just like the key man. And he absolutely unlocked a potential victory for Lynchburg with his key double. 2-0 count here. See if Harding can do even more. That's a fastball that missed inside. And now it's 3 balls and no strikes. Holden Fiedler, the catcher, waits on deck. He's the 8-hole man. Carson Atkins bats 9th. Fiedler is 2 for 3, by the way. Don't leave him out of the conversation when you're talking about huge performances. And let's not forget that Holden Fiedler has caught all but 1 inning of play here in Cedar Rapids for Lynchburg. Harding was straight take mode on the 3-0 pitch. Let's see if he's go mode here with 3-1 count. He is. Bouncing ball right side. Could be a tough play. Pitcher Carmichael covering, takes the flip, and steps on the bag with his right foot for the second out of the inning. So it is Holden Fiedler now. 2 for 3 with a strikeout in this game. Fiedler had 1 hit in Game 2. That was earlier today. And this is Game 3 of the championship series. 7-5, Lynchburg leads. It has become a national championship game. Lynchburg so far this season is 3-0 in elimination games, depending on how you look at those Bridgewater games from that ODAC opening weekend, because we all assumed Lynchburg would get an at-large bid into NCAA play, but they are technically still elimination games. It's a chance to get eliminated from a tournament. Maybe not a season-ending type of game for Lynchburg, but they did beat Bridgewater twice with their back to the wall. They had a clean sweep in ODAC championship weekend play, 3-0, and they had to face elimination against Lebanon Valley in the regional title, the Rocky Mount Regional. And Lynchburg did win that game, obviously. They're here. 2-0 in super regional play from Lynchburg. And they were undefeated in this College World Series national championship trip to Cedar Rapids prior to earlier this afternoon, where Johns Hopkins won Game 2 in the championship series, 11-6. All right, that's a lot of numbers there. Here's 2 more key ones. It's a 2-2 count with 2 outs on Holden Fiedler. Oh, yeah, laser beam over the second baseman's head. Holden Fiedler's got his 3rd hit of the ball game. Thought about turning for 2. Center fielder was a little late getting to that baseball. Holden Fiedler will stop at first. 3 for 4 for Holden Fiedler. So many guys. So many guys shining in the bright light of the big center stage here. National Championship Baseball between Johns Hopkins and Lynchburg. Pitching change coming probably for Johns Hopkins as head coach Bob Babb looks like he's making the slow trot out there. It will be a new arm. The assignment will be Carson Atkins. That's coming up next. There's 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th inning. Lynchburg leading 7-5 in the national championship game here from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Fourth pitcher of the ball game for Johns Hopkins coming out of the bullpen is Shinwoo Roh. Shinwoo Roh is the pitcher here for the Blue Jays. He enters with a 2.19 earned run average. This will be game number 15. He has pitched in all out of the bullpen for Roh. He's got 2 saves, struck out 17, and walked 5. Batters hitting just .231 against Shinwoo Roh. The hitter will be Carson Atkins. He's 0 for 3 in this ball game. On the season for Carson Atkins, coming in to the weekend, coming into the championship series more specifically, Atkins was hitting .267. He's got 6 homers and 13 doubles. And I mentioned the power numbers because with 2 outs and Holden Fiedler, who does not have elite speed, sorry, Holden Fiedler fans, most of them are here in attendance, but I know he's got a few listening. Holden Fiedler would probably need an extra base hit and maybe even the home run to score from first base. Now, with that being said, if he can move to second somehow during the at-bat, then it's game on again. But right now, it's just a runner on first for Lynchburg with 2 outs. Atkins hitting against Roh. Fiedler leads off at first. He'll get chased back with a pickoff attempt. Leadoff man Brandon Garcia waits on deck. He's still looking for his first hit of the ball game. Brandon Garcia has walked once. Carson Atkins, 0-0 count, getting started against Roh, right-handed thrower from Johns Hopkins. 4th pitcher they have used. Lynchburg, again, has used 3. Batchmore started, went 5. Logan Tapman took the 6th. Mason McDowell the 7th. Here's the pitch from Roh. Atkins saw it, beat on it, but couldn't connect with the swing. And now the count is no balls and 1 strike. It'll be 4-5-6 due up for Johns Hopkins in their half of the 8th inning. This is the bottom of the 7th inning. The dream is real. Both of these teams are close to waking up and finding themselves national champions. It could all come down to an exciting finish. 0-2 count on Atkins. That one skips in for ball 1. Holden Fiedler leading off at first base for Lynchburg. 1-2, 2 outs. Bottom 7, 7-5. Lynchburg lead. They scored 3 in the bottom of the 5th inning. That was Jackson Harding. Here's a pitch to Carson Atkins. Swing and a miss. Got down on one knee, but it is a strikeout for Atkins. And the 7th inning is over. 6 more outs for Lynchburg to get. Mason McDowell coming back out to try to get him, at least in the 8th inning. Do not miss the conclusion of national championship play here from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Lynchburg on top of Johns Hopkins, 7-5. Hornet fans, can you feel it? Can you feel a national championship right around the corner? Still plenty of business to attend to. There's a lot of hay in the barn, though. Lynchburg has done so much hard work just to get to Cedar Rapids, just to get to this stage. They've beaten so many great teams. They've beaten more great teams while they're out here. They got to do it one more time. And they've got 6 outs to get with a 2-run lead. Anything can happen. Anything is possible in this game of baseball. I'll point out, as I usually do in these situations, I still think you'd like to be the team with the 2-run lead with 2 innings to go, wouldn't you? Holden Fiedler's got to adjust the equipment. Lynchburg does use the radio, the communications device to call the pitches in, the earpiece that Holden Fiedler wears. And that's a fun thing about today's game. Just calling the pitches is interesting, and there's so many varieties with that now. Ball 1, Fiedler fires it back to Mason McDowell. Fiedler was a little late getting out there because he was stranded on first after his single. Lynchburg has scored 7 runs on 7 hits. That one hit. That one hit Sam Frank. That one hurt, too. He let out an audible groan there as that one hit his body. Mason McDowell's looking over there, and he gave him the my bad gesture, which is, again, great sportsmanship. Like to see it. Pinch hitter maybe for Johns Hopkins. Yeah, it looks like it. Looks like got a pinch hitter reporting in right there. Will be a runner on first base. Hit by pitch for Sam Frank. He is aboard. And this is now number 14, Lucas Gear. That is batting in a spot that was originally occupied by Tripp Myers, but then Jake Ciani came in. And now it's Lucas Gear. Lucas Gear has 12 games played. He's hitting .412 in those 12 games with 7 base hits. 0-1 count as Mason McDowell gets a fastball across. McDowell hit the first batter of the inning. That was Sam Frank. 7-5, Lynchburg leads. Check swing, didn't matter. It was a called strike anyway. And now it's 0-2. Breaking ball there from Mason McDowell. Maximum Mason. He's got high velocity, but his breaking ball is very threatening too. Very hard to hit. Went to it again. Ball, 1-2 count. Good hold there by Lucas Gear because that one sure felt close to the strike zone. And we'll see what Mason McDowell goes with here. Maybe extra mustard. Mustard to spare. Does he go with the spicy mustard breaking ball? It was a curveball / slider. And it's ball 2. Nobody out in the top of the 8th inning. Still more arms getting loose in the Lynchburg bullpen. Not a surprise, though, in a game like this, a 2-run lead late in the game. You want all options available, and you want them to be available right away. You don't want to wait and have a situation where guys swing it back-to-back pitches or 3 pitches in a row. All of a sudden you got multiple runners on and nobody's down there getting loose. Full count delivery. Lucas Gear stayed alive and sprayed it into the parking lot. We'll try it again with nobody out. Hopkins' bullpen has pretty much been a flurry of activity as well. At least since, well, they did use a new pitcher in the first inning, actually, so we'll say all game. McDowell, that one missed. It got by Fiedler, but it won't matter because it's ball 4. So that gives you a little cause for concern if you're a Lynchburg coach or fan, the fact that McDowell hit a batter and now he has walked one. We have thought that this freshman was impervious to pressure. And back to what I've been saying all week. It doesn't mean that he walked the guy because there's pressure. Sometimes pitchers just throw balls, even when there's no pressure. Even when you're out tossing around with your buddies, you don't always get it where you want it. Caleb Sear is a dangerous hitter. He has homered in this game. That was in the first inning. We're going to get a mound visit from associate head coach Travis Beasley. McDowell came in for the 9-hole hitter, so all these pitchers have not faced Mason McDowell just yet. And that's another one to keep an eye on. When McDowell gets back to the bottom of the order to turn the lineup over again, do you then go get somebody else? Ideally, Johns Hopkins never gets to that point. And you could do that potentially with a double play right here if you're Lynchburg. There are runners on first and second. This is the 6-hole hitter, Caleb Sear, the designated hitter. He is 1 for 2 with that home run in this game. Last game, he had an interesting stat line of 3 walks and 2 strikeouts. Sear has been hit by a pitch in this game. That was against Logan Tapman in an at-bat back to begin the 6th inning. We are in the top of the 8th. This is the national championship game in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Lynchburg has been loving their time in the Hawkeye State. Hornets in the Hawkeye State. It rolls off the tongue, and they have felt right at home here. But pressure again, as the tying run is on first base. The go-ahead run is in the batter's box in the form of Caleb Sear. Mason McDowell still out there. He'll spin and take a check on Sam Frank, the catcher. Could be a sacrifice bunt situation here. We know Caleb Sear's got a ton of power. 17 home runs on the season, including 1 today. But that doesn't mean that Coach Bob Babb wouldn't give the signal to lay down a bunt right here. Lynchburg has to be prepared for that contingency. Sear swings on the first and fouls it away. 0-1 count for Lynchburg pitcher Mason McDowell. Hornets will have the top of the order coming up in their half of the 8th inning, and Lynchburg is the home team. Coach Oscar Garcia trying to shuffle the defense around just a little bit. They want the outfield to shift over. Fastball out of the zone from Mason McDowell. 1-1 is the count with nobody out. Getting an out here is paramount for Lynchburg. This is the old saying that coaches will use. 1 is a must, 2 is a plus right here. Make sure of the first out. Don't rush the first one in an attempt to get 2. And Lynchburg has done that a few times this trip to Cedar Rapids. All teams do it. Foul ball up the elevator shaft. Fiedler sees it, battling the sun slightly, drifting back to first base, and he makes a really good grab. That was tough. That was high degree of difficulty off the bat of Caleb Sear. Fiedler went straight back initially, and then the spin and maybe the wind here in Cedar Rapids caused that ball to drift back towards the first base side. But Holden Fiedler was able to hang on and make a really good grab for the first out. And you don't trade any bases for that out as well, which is so important. Runners still on first and second. Now the 1 pitch and you're out of here concept is in play. Ground ball might be 2 for this elite Lynchburg infield. Fastball misses. 1-0 is the count with 1 out to Jimmy Stevens. He's the second baseman, 0 for 3 in this game with 2 strikeouts. In the first game of the day, he had a homer and a double. McDowell checks the runner, pitches to Fiedler. That's a ball. 2-0 count. Former Lynchburg catcher and Central Virginia native Chris Martin is actually getting ready to get married, and Holden Fiedler is missing the rehearsal dinner for this. We're there in spirit, Chris. We know you're here with us in spirit as well. McDowell getting set to deliver the 2-0 pitch. He'll step off and take some time for himself. There is 1 out. In the top of the 8th inning. Runners on first and second. Yeah, Martin and Fiedler, they've spent a lot of time together over the years. In the bullpen, getting after it. All those fun situations. McDowell twirls one in there that will spin Jimmy Stevens out of the way. That almost hit him. And now the count is 3-0 with 1 out to the second baseman from Johns Hopkins. Maybe Fiedler can ride back with me. I'll get him there a little bit quicker than a plane ride. Here's the pitch from McDowell. Fastball for a strike. Hitter's count coming up, though, for Jimmy Stevens. We know he can do some damage. Homered in the 9th inning of that 11-6 victory that was earlier today between these same 2 ball clubs. This is game 3 of the series. Knotted at 1 apiece right now. McDowell set under the chin, looks in, fires. That's a ball. So it's 2 out of the last 3 that McDowell has walked. He's also hit a batter. Now the bases are loaded with 1 out. You start asking the question, how long of a leash do you give Mason McDowell? We know he's an electric arm. We know he's got great stuff. But when a guy loses the zone, sometimes it's not so easy for him to just get it back. It doesn't mean that McDowell isn't ready for the moment. Sometimes you just throw balls. There will be a pitching change as associate head coach Travis Beasley will take the walk again. Oh boy, it looks like we are going to get to see Wes Arrington back again. He went a complete game, 9 innings just a few days ago, but Wes Arrington is coming out of the bullpen for Lynchburg. No need to take it to a break. We will just stay right here and tell you more about Wes Arrington and the things that he has done for this Lynchburg ball club. We are going to invite Tim LaDuca back in to tell you more about it. Headset is on. Arrington has returned to the bump. We are going to get to see Wes, the guy you call the sheriff, one more time in Cedar Rapids. And hopefully, if you're a Lynchburg fan, you're hoping it's the last pitcher you need to see from for Lynchburg. You're hoping he can close it down.
Try to think about Arrington's demeanor while pitching his complete game a couple days ago. If anyone has the ice in his veins, I guess, for this moment, it's Wes Arrington. I mean, he's stoic out there. He's in charge. He's an intimidating presence. You know, he's laying down the law. That's why I call him the sheriff. Like, he's a tall kid. He's 6'5". Used to have the flowing long hair, broad shoulders, and look at, he's even wearing the stirrups out there with the 3 stripes on the socks. He cut the hair off. It didn't have any negative effect on him, and he went out there and threw his first career complete game against East Texas Baptist to get Lynchburg into this championship series. Now he's hoping to get the hold here with a 2-run lead for Lynchburg. How much rest has Wes gotten?
We're gonna get to that right here. This is Thursday, June 8th. Wes last pitched on June 5th. So the days are all running together for me. That was Monday night. Yeah, actually Monday afternoon. That was the first day game Lynchburg played. So it would be 2 days rest. It's 2 days rest for Wes Arrington. He did throw 9 innings, but the pitch count really just barely crept over the 100 mark, if you remember, Tim. Arrington was very efficient, and regardless of pitch count or any of that, Lynchburg obviously feels this is the best option right now. And you know that number 45, Wes Arrington, is ready for the moment. You talked about ice water in his veins. He's got it all flowing right now. He will enter in a tough situation, though. Bases loaded with 1 out. The margin for error is so thin right here. You don't even have to make a bad pitch, and you can give up a run very easily, multiple runs. The game of baseball is cruel at times. It doesn't matter how good you are. Sometimes you don't get the breaks. Let's see if Arrington gets a break here, or maybe if he just dominates his way back in the dugout. It's a 7-5 Lynchburg lead, but the bases are full of Blue Jays right now with 1 out in the 8th inning. Arrington, second pitch. Line drive up the middle. That's through. 1 run will score. Atkins got to it quickly. They're going to send the runner around. Play at the plate. Fiedler has it. He'll tag the runner out. Lynchburg's lead will be preserved for the moment. What a play by Carson Atkins. Uncorking one from mid-center field on target. 1 hop. Holden Fiedler catches. 2-hand tag on the runner who opted not to slide. And there was really nothing that runner could do. Atkins got to it so quickly. The throw was slightly to the first base side, but it was in time. Fiedler makes the catch, and it's out number 2.
Head coach Bob Babb didn't give the stop sign, but he didn't give the go sign either. His arm wasn't moving as the runner rounded third. I'm not really sure whose call that was, but there definitely wasn't a stop sign.
There are runners on first and second still. There are 2 outs. So the threat is still on right now for the Blue Jays of Johns Hopkins. Wes Arrington has missed the zone twice. It's a 2-0 count on Sam Browning, the 9-hole hitter. Runners on first and second, but a big play by Carson Atkins to save the lead at the moment. Lynchburg on top 7-6. That base hit up the middle did score 1, and it was hit hard. Arrington is ready again. Set at the belly button. Checks the runner, fires. That ball is low. Velocity looks good from Wes Arrington, so I don't think the amount of rest or lack of rest is a problem. Just got to find the zone.
That's exactly what I was going to note. And coming into this situation is tough. Your first pitch being thrown with the bases loaded.
Pressure cooker. It is an absolute pressure cooker. Strike one there on Sam Browning. He ran a full 4 feet out of the batter's box, and the umpire called him back. It's a 3-1 count with 2 outs. Lynchburg's defense is back. They can get an out at any base. Here's the pitch from Arrington. That hit Browning. So it's a hit by pitch. Second batter, Lynchburg pitchers have bopped this inning. And it will bring the leadoff man and danger man, Matt Cooper, to the plate with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Back to the pressure. I think, Tim, it just causes you to squeeze the baseball a little bit more. The arm gets a little tighter. The leg kick on the leg lift doesn't get quite as high. The people that handle the pressure best, I think, are the ones that can stay loose. Not necessarily mentally or emotionally, although that probably helps too, but just loose with the freedom of movement out there. The athletic movements can't tighten up. Tension is a real killer. There's a good sharp fastball from Wesley Arrington. Right at the knees for strike one to Matt Cooper. 0-1 count with 2 outs. Bases are loaded. Cooper is 2 for 4. He did strike out in his last at bat. Infield back for Lynchburg, of course. Cooper skies one. Foul territory. Gavin Collins is under it. He sees it. Brandon Garcia will call him off. Oh, he stumbled when he hit the bullpen mound, and Garcia is hurt. Garcia looks like he has twisted the ankle on the bullpen mound. This is disaster, and I hope I'm not overstating it, but it looks like Brandon Garcia has injured his ankle. He might not be able to return to the game. So not only do you not end the inning with a pop-up catch in foul territory, but you might lose your shortstop and leadoff hitter. Brandon Garcia is due up first, by the way. And this is just a wild scene. I told you something unique would unfold. You did not. Nobody wanted it to be this. Johns Hopkins didn't want it to be this. It is a foul ball skied very high by Matt Cooper. Collins was under it initially from his third base position. Brandon Garcia came over from short and called him off. As he was reaching up to catch the ball, he hit the bullpen mound, which is on the warning track, stumbled, the ball bounced free, and Garcia didn't get up. You could see him visibly in pain, grabbing at his ankle. It may be all for naught, Tim, if Garcia can stay in the game and Wes Arrington can make a pitch to retire Matt Cooper here next. It doesn't matter. Brandon Garcia is walking out to the field like maybe he wants to try to continue. Let's wait and see. But we'll reset things here. 7-6. Lynchburg leads in the bottom of the 8th inning. There are 2 outs. The bases are loaded. It's an 0-2 count on Matt Cooper. You ice both the pitcher and the batter a little bit, too, with this long delay. Looks like Brandon Garcia is going to try to stay in.
Yeah,
wow.
If you remember in Rocky Mount at the regional, he came up short on the lip in between the infield and the outfield, and he was down. And then the same thing, skipping around trying to loosen up the ankle, and he ended up continuing to play. And this is essentially the heart and soul of this Lynchburg team. He's the leadoff hitter, shortstop. They call him Hollywood. And he was giving his entire effort. He was giving his all to make that out there on the play. And really the only reason why he didn't make it was because of the topography of the field.
I don't know that he's going to have full range out there, but let's see. Maybe it won't matter. 0-2 pitch from Wes Arrington to Cooper. Fastball away, just missed. Set up variety there, though. They're hoping Cooper decides to go fishing outside, or maybe the umpire gives you a call. If not, you pitch off of that outside fastball.
You know how baseball works. Ball always finds you. I could almost guarantee Cooper rolls one.
Swing and a miss. Fiedler held on to a foul tip. The weird play in foul territory doesn't affect the Hornets. They get out of the inning. They do surrender 1 run. Wesley Arrington with a rare display of emotion. He was full flex and full-throated yell back at his dugout right there after striking out the very dangerous Matt Cooper to end the 8th inning. Ooh, it's just the 8th inning, Tim. Wow, it feels like the 9th. Let's just keep it right here. And let's try to recap, because the Blue Jays did score 1 run to get a little bit closer. Here's how the inning started. Hit by pitch, walk. There was a pop-up to Holden Fiedler, another walk. Then it was the RBI single. Don't forget Carson Atkins threw out a runner at home plate there. Put a very long throw on target. I mean, a full 200 or 215-foot throw from Carson Atkins in center field. Fiedler makes a great tag. Sam Browning gets hit by a pitch. Then you have Matt Cooper up. All he's done this season is hit over 400 with 25 bombs, and Wes Arrington was able to get him out with a strikeout after a strange play where Brandon Garcia turned his ankle. Garcia's going to get in the batter's box now and hit. I'm sure he's hoping for a clean single in the outfield where he doesn't have to put too much pressure on the ankle. But this is a game that has had it all and then some. It's a series that's had it all and then some. This is game 3 between these two ball clubs. Lynchburg wins 5-2 yesterday. They win 11-6, or Johns Hopkins, wins 11-6 earlier today behind a complete game from Gabe Romano. And now we've got a one-run ball game, 7-6. Lynchburg on top by 1, looking for insurance in the bottom of the 9th inning. A friendly reminder, Lynchburg is the home team in this ball game. So it is 1 run, but it's 3 left on base for Johns Hopkins. Wesley Arrington comes in relief of Mason McDowell and does the job. Does give up a hit, but does the job. Garcia bouncing ball to the second baseman, and he can't even really get out of the batter's box. Garcia, you can tell, still cannot put full weight on the ankle, or at least doesn't have the full range of motion. He is the first out of the inning. Yeah, and another guy that has played shortstop for Lynchburg this season is Mason McDowell. He's out of the game. He entered as a pitcher. Gavin Collins has some experience at shortstop. That could be an option. Ben Jones has played some shortstop this season. Ben Jones has just rocketed a ball to shallow right field, but the second baseman was there, and that is Jimmy Stevens, that will make the grab and toss to first base. So Stevens has factored in both of the outs here. And there's 2 outs pretty quickly in the 8th inning. This is Avery Neves. Batting with 2 outs, Coach Lucas Jones is going to take an offensive timeout. It was 2 quick outs for Lynchburg, so that's not a bad idea by Coach Lucas Jones. You don't want to get Rowe in too much of a rhythm, although he's clearly in a rhythm. 7 pitches total for Shinwoo Rowe. He's thrown 6 strikes. Lynchburg also has options warming up in the bullpen. You maybe want to give them a few more warm-up tosses. So you take a little offensive timeout right there. There's definitely some options for Lynchburg defensively, though. Ryan Long has been coming in as a defensive replacement at first base. He's played some shortstop and some second and some third. Fly ball, right side. The second baseman, Stevens, is there, so he will factor into all the outs that inning, and it's a pretty quick inning, actually, for Lynchburg. I think a 4-pitch inning they go down, and we go to the top of the 9th. Lynchburg is 3 outs away from closing this down. They hold on to a 1-run lead. The slimmest of margins stands between Lynchburg and a national championship. We are staying right here. Might have to pause and grab some more of this water. I've lost the voice and the throat at times during this trip to Cedar Rapids, but we're making it work. We're battling. We're making it happen for you. The Lynchburg Hornets are 1 win away. I could recap all the series information and the national championship as a whole, the 8 teams that started. We could do that. But you can find out that info if you need it later on. Right now, all that stands between Lynchburg and a national title is 3 outs. They have a 1-run lead. Wesley Arrington is coming back out to pitch. Brandon Garcia is going back to short. I saw Coach Lucas Jones having a quick chat with Garcia and Collins, maybe as if to say to Gavin Collins, hey, you're going to have to cover more range over there. Or maybe the question to Gavin Collins was, you might need to be ready to go play shortstop. That's a possibility as well. Wesley Arrington came on in the last inning. He recorded 2 outs, big helping hand from Carson Atkins. And how about Holden Fiedler in that last inning? He caught a tough pop-up for Lynchburg. And then he made the grab and applied the tag on the play at the plate. And then he held on to a foul tip. It all comes down to this. It's 2, 3, 4 for Johns Hopkins in the top of the 9th. And I say it all comes down to this, but Lynchburg is the home team. They would get a chance to answer and respond should Hopkins tie or take the lead. Off-speed pitch, ball 1 from the right arm of Wesley Arrington. Ryan Long has entered the ball game as a defensive replacement at first base. Lynchburg has been doing that for a lot of the postseason. Ball airborne. Neves and Atkins are there. It will be Carson Atkins that calls him off and makes the catch. So 2 pitches One out, and Lynchburg is one step closer. 7-6, the Hornet lead right now. These Hornets have been stinging all season long, most of them their entire career. You can feel it. You can sense it. It is right around the corner for Lynchburg. Arrington, first pitch, misses low to Sean Stour. Stour has a sacrifice fly and a double in this game. No hits in the earlier game today. He'll swing on that, and it's foul. Into the parking lot, strike one. Lynchburg still adjusting the defensive alignment. Coach Oscar Garcia out of the dugout to move some outfielders around. Infield is regular depth. Ground ball, right side. That's Ben Jones. Slides over, makes the grab, makes the toss to Ryan Long, and there's two in the books now. You can really feel it now, can't you, Lynchburg fans? If you're not on your feet already, you better get there. You better get there for this last out. And nothing is guaranteed with another great hitter like Sam Frank. He has a solo home run in this game. Sam Frank is 1 for 2. He's also walked and been hit by a pitch. He has yet to face this man, Wesley Arrington. Lynchburg, 1 out away. Here's the pitch, ball 1. 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning at Veterans Memorial Stadium in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. It's been a thrill ride for Lynchburg all season long. It has been a dream season in every sense of the word. Arrington gets a swinging strike from Sam Frank, the catcher for Johns Hopkins. Two of the best teams in the country doing battle. This is baseball of the highest order right here. And it has had everything we have wanted. High drama, great plays, home runs, key hitting. And now the Lynchburg Hornets are 1 strike away as Arrington pumped a fastball by Frank. 1-2 count. Arrington, ready, aim, fire. Oh, and that just missed. And that must have just missed. It was awfully close again. Holden Fiedler's mitt did not move. I think he got it right where he wanted it. And now Wesley Arrington will pitch with a 2-2 count. Nobody on base. Sam Frank represents the tying run. 7-6 ball game. Here's the pitch from Arrington. Foul ball. And we got to try it again. It is an absolute pressure cooker. Major tension out there. White knuckle stuff. I said you ought to be on your feet, so it's not the edge of your seat stuff. You're on your feet right now, aren't you, Lynchburg fans? Come on. Get behind it right here. Arrington misses low and away. Now the count is full. A walk would get the tying run on base and bring the go-ahead run to the batter's box. Lynchburg is the home team. They would get a chance to answer. They lead 7-6 right now. Arrington set and ready for another one. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him. He struck him out. Lynchburg is the national champions. Lynchburg has done it. The Hornets have done it. The University of Lynchburg is the 2023 Division III baseball national champions. They defeat Johns Hopkins 7-6 in one of the most thrilling baseball games you will ever see in your life. Ring the bell, Lynchburg, and ring it as long and as loud as you ever have. It's history-making stuff. The first baseball national championship for Lynchburg and their head coach, Lucas Jones. It has been a dream season for Lynchburg. When you finally wake up, you're going to realize the dream was real. It was real. Lynchburg wins it. They have to go to Game 3 against the Blue Jays of Johns Hopkins, but they do it. 7-6. Lynchburg wins. They bring Wesley Arrington out of the bullpen. He threw a complete game on Monday, but Arrington slams the door. The Hornets are bringing the big trophy back to the Hive on Lakeside Drive. My goodness, a game that took 3 hours and 30 minutes officially had us on the edge of our seats the entire time. Lynchburg went down 4-0 in the top of the first inning, but they survived. And they thrived. They bring the sting from the Hive, and Lynchburg wins it. They move to 48-8 on the season. And yes, Lynchburg can say they have not been beaten twice by anybody in the country. Lynchburg is the best baseball team in the country in 2023. Wow. I'm still trying to get it together, folks. It's not so difficult to cry when you think about the things that this team has done. What a group out there. What a group. Just from top to bottom. What about Brandon Garcia staying in the game after twisting the ankle late in the game? He's a freshman. What about Benny Bombs with a bomb? A 2-run homer that tied this game up in the bottom of the second inning. That was launched. The All-American, Avery Neves. What hasn't he done in his career? He has rewritten every record book in Lynchburg baseball history. Sean Pokerock, the freshman, he didn't even begin starting until about 6 weeks ago, and he's the cleanup hitter for this team. Eric Hyatt, the sophomore, just punched the clock time after time in this postseason run. Gavin Collins with the smooth defense, and he had a 2 RBI single in the first inning in this game. And then it's Jackson Harding. The key man was absolutely that. Jackson Harding with the bases-clearing 3 RBI double in the bottom of the 5th. That gave Lynchburg the advantage. They would not surrender. 3 runs driven in by Jackson Harding, and it was another classic at-bat from Harding where he fouls off multiple pitches, and he does it with 2 strikes. Holden Fiedler, he has put his body on the line. He's missing, wedding reception dinners for his buddies and former Lynchburg teammates. Holden Fiedler had 3 hits in this game. And Carson Atkins with some diamond defense late in the game to throw a base runner out at home. And great defense all year from Atkins. And the list goes on. The list goes on as we get a hug from Tim LaDuca. What about these pitchers? Jack Batchmore started it, kept his team in the game. He kept his team in the game all year. Jack Batchmore is a first-team All-American. You bring in Logan Tapman, another freshman. He contributes an outstanding inning. You get Mason McDowell coming in, throwing hard. And then Wesley Arrington. Pressure situation. He delivers a strikeout to end the game for Wes Arrington. Let's keep it going. Brandon Pond, he's thrown a complete game in his trip to Cedar Rapids. He's just one of the best arms to ever put on a Hornet uniform. And then the thrill from Oilville, Zach Potts. He had his complete game yesterday in game 1 of the series to set this up. And we can just go right on down the list and talk about everybody that has factored into this season. And there are so many. You think about a guy like Josh Jorman, who was leading the team in average before he got hurt. You think about Baylor Cumbie, who was emerging as one of the premier options out of the bullpen. He got hurt down in Rocky Mount. So many people have contributed to this. And now I want to say something about these coaches. Gabe Garcia is the new man. He might be the magic man. Lynchburg's only won a national championship with Gabe Garcia coaching. What a great start to his career over there in the first base coach's box. His brother Oscar Garcia is somebody that you always hear about from everybody. What a great coach Oscar Garcia is. And then the 2 pitching coaches, Michael Solbach and Travis Beasley. Well, folks have been talking about them all week long, what they bring to the game, what they bring to their team. And then the head guy, Lucas Jones, my guy, somebody I've known since we were teenagers. He gets it done on the biggest stage. He had his team ready for the biggest moments. And Lucas Jones deserves so much credit. He's going to defer all the credit. I know he is. He's that kind of a guy. He's not going to take any credit for this victory. But trust me, Coach Lucas Jones deserves it. The support staff has got to be mentioned in there as well. Everybody that makes this happen. Everybody had a hand in this. You go back to all these players and their high school coaches and their hitting instructors, and even on down the line, the parents, the brothers, the sisters. Everybody that got in the grind with these players, everybody that has supported them this season and seasons before, they have made it happen. It's a national championship for the Lynchburg Hornets. I don't know where to go from here. I mean, it's hard. People that know me, like my buddy David Bennett, who's got it tuned in, he knows it's hard for me to be speechless. But I don't know what else there is to say at this point. Lynchburg wins it 7-6. Give a lot of credit to Johns Hopkins. They're an incredible ball club. They're one of the best teams in the country, and they just got nipped by 1 run. It's a game where it could have gone either way. 1 pitch here or there. 1 play here or there. How about Lynchburg? Remember the big pickoff by Jack Batchmore where he picked off the runner? Hyatt got into got it into Brandon Garcia. They tag the runner out. There was a solo home run right after it. I said, file it away. That pickoff attempt turned a 2-run home run. That successful pickoff turned a 2-run home run into a solo home run. And that was the difference. There were double plays in this game by Lynchburg, who leads the country in that category. Defense and pitching, the old school baseball formula, wins out. It wins a national championship. Don't forget, these Hornets can swing it too. Their offense takes a back seat to nobody. They might not have the eye-popping home run numbers like some teams, but they get it done offensively when they need to. They do just enough. Eric Hyatt, what a postseason run for him. What about these young players? The sky is the limit for them. And what about these veterans who we may have seen play their last game in a Lynchburg uniform? And that was my message to some of the fans that were, we'll say feeling the pressure in between games. When Lynchburg lost the first one today, I said, hey, the bonus is we get to see these guys in uniform one more time. We get to see this combination in one more time. And they did it. They did it when it mattered most. Under the bright lights of the national championship stage, Lynchburg delivers a 7-6 win. Why wouldn't it be a close game? Lynchburg's been playing close games all season long. I think this is their 9th victory in a one-run game for Lynchburg. They get it done. My goodness. And it's worth mentioning everybody again, but we have to end somewhere. And we got to get down there and try to join the celebration at some point here. It will be a long night in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I can guarantee you that. You feel for Johns Hopkins a little bit as they sit on the edge of their dugout watching the celebration. You feel for the other teams that made it this far and got bounced out by one of these ball clubs. But it's baseball. One team has to win. One team has to lose. On this day, on this Thursday in Iowa, the winner is the Lynchburg Hornets, a national championship. Second NCAA title in school history. First one for the baseball program. Lucas Jones said this was a goal. He said there's steps to get to this goal. It's going to take some time. It's going to take a lot of hard work. It's going to take some blood, sweat, and tears, to pardon the cliche. But they got it done. Don't forget about my guy Brady Moore, Director of Baseball Analytics. I don't want to leave him out. The support staff, our athletic trainers, Dane and Don and Sarah, in the grind with the guys for this postseason run. Everybody back on campus. All the professors, all the staff. Our athletic director, John Waters. Our director of digital media and fearless leader, Tim LaDuca. You've been hearing on the broadcast quite a bit. Sam Rice, Caroline Gerke. I've had the time of my life with these people, and my voice is fully gone. It was fighting back tears earlier, fans, but now I think my voice is just gone. But, hey, it lasted as long as it needed to. If this game went into extra innings, we would have had to sum it up something from the reserves. We're getting the all-tournament team right now. I could try to listen out for that. I guarantee we're going to get some Lynchburg Hornets on that one. And, gosh, there are some great players from Johns Hopkins that will deserve these honors as well. Lynchburg, the final numbers, they win it 7-6 over Johns Hopkins. They win the best 2 out of 3 championship series. They lost 11-6 earlier today, but they bounced back. They bounced back in a big way. They fell behind 4-0 in this game, but they found a way to win. And they did leave no doubt that they are the best team in the country. They played with a chip on their shoulder some of the year. Felt like maybe they weren't getting the attention they deserved. They've got it now. Nobody can doubt this ball club now. The big trophy coming back to Lakeside Drive. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. Lynchburg moves to 48-8 on the season. The win total was already a record, but that's a number that's going to be difficult to beat. I don't even really want to talk about the future because let's just soak in this moment. But I tell you, this team has a bright future. Individuals on this team have a future that the sky is the limit. There is no limit for some of these guys. Lynchburg, a national champion in 2023. Unforgettable. Unforgettable. And if you're listening to it after the fact, first off, thank you for that. And excuse any mistakes or anything that we might have overdone in this one. But this moment, it's the dream. The dream is real for Lynchburg. They are your 2023 Division III national champions in baseball. We'll leave it right there. We'll say it's been an outstanding ride throughout the season. Get ready for more Hornets sports on the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network next fall. We're going to get bigger. We're going to get better. Our athletics teams are going to get bigger and better. Lynchburg, #OneNation. They got it done today, and they are the 2023 national champions. We'll say goodbye from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. What a fun ride it has been. We're so glad you were here with us on the air or in person. It happened. The dream is real. Lynchburg wins it. 2023 national championship for the Hornets.